Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening, wherever you're receiving this audio. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Busted Coverage Podcast, right here on YouTube and on Spotify. I'm your host, Nicholas Persampieri, joined always and forever by my partners in crime, Cam Griffin and Matt Baywood, holding it down. Before we get started, we just want to thank you guys for tuning in. As always, this is not possible without you guys tuning in. Keep hitting the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave comments too. We'd love to hear you guys' feedback, your opinions, give us some things to talk about, help out with that algorithm, content, rules the world, man. So let us know what you want to hear. We'll talk about anything and everything that has to do with sports. And also, once again, it's summertime. If you're stuck in traffic, put us on Spotify, man. Plus, you can keep your eyes on the road and your ears to the podcast, so no one gets hurt. Anywho, this week, Cam is going to be our moderator. He has some very interesting topics to go over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And with that said, Mr. Griffin, I hope you're ready to go.
Oh, I'm always ready.
I'm going to pass it on to you, man. Let us know what's going down.
You want to let them know
episode.
where we are today?
Give the people what they want, man.
Let them know where we are, just in case
We're at our friend Tommy's
some
house
miscellaneous noises come out in the background.
today. Yeah, if you hear Tommy going, "What's up?"
The first miscellaneous noise that we need to address is cracking a can, but I couldn't find. Well, I was going to cheers to everybody, but
It's funny you mentioned cans. I have a 12-pack right here.
Of what? Who are we asking to sponsor
I
us?
feel like Vanna White right now. Or you guys ever watch Let's Make a Deal? I have a 12-pack variety pack of Cayman Jack margaritas. Please sponsor us.
this would be our first beverage of the show.
Well,
Yes.
just so you guys know, because I know they're going to forget to say it, but I'm going to throw it out there. In last week's show, we actually unofficially introduced Tommy as the friend who can't swim until there's a girl drowning. Or, right?
Not drowning, just a girl in the water.
Until there's a girl in the water. So you'll get to hear him later on. I know he'll pop
Though
out.
that makes him look a lot better that he's saving the damsel in distress.
I know, and you both just ruined it. So now we...
Sorry.
He was about to be the damsel.
He was.
We blocked Tommy.
You just blocked him without knowing. But, Nick, continue with your Cayman Islands.
So we have our Cayman Jack margarita pack. Poet don't even know it. We have the classic, we have watermelon, we have mango, and we have strawberry. They are not cold because they've been in my car. So who doesn't love a hot margarita? Anyway.
I literally went in the fridge. I was like, how did Nick fit these in here?
The answer is I didn't fit them in there because the fridge and freezer are packed.
I didn't know if Tommy had had a mini fridge or
Which
something.
one you want? You want one?
Strawberry.
Strawberry?
But
Just
I'm
miscellaneous.
going to just go through our topics real quick so we can keep the show rolling while Nick hands out some
Of course I opened
Cayman Jack margaritas.
Perfect. Thank you. Hold on. This is the most famous noise.
Once you pop, the fun don't stop.
How that didn't get on the computer is beyond me.
God. Anyway, our topics here today are going to be a little broader, a little interesting. Not so much on particular sports, I realized this week when I was going over my topics. But you know what? It's summertime. There's a few out there right now. So, our first topic is going to be about time zones, how they affect sports, our perceptions, and what we watch. 2, we're going to go back to a topic we had in one of our first 3 episodes. We're going to talk about trans athletes in sports. I know California has a new policy out. We're going to address that, as well as the fencer who took a knee. Do we agree? Should we do more? Should we do less? Let's talk. Why not? We'll have a conversation about it. 3, we're going to dive into legacies of our favorite athletes. Can they be hurt, or are they pretty much set in stone if they're still playing? And what do we think about that? And our last topic right there, for our big 4 topics, should athletes' contracts be guaranteed? Yes, no, maybe so. I know one of our episodes, I think Nick was pretty strong for one of them outside. I believe we were talking about... Oh, when you were saying Saquon. I think we were talking about Saquon and guaranteed contracts. But we will get into debate about that. I have some trivia questions for these two based around the NCAA tournament. I have some quick questions, one-word answers, not really, but one-sentence answers I'd like them to get. Then, as usual, Nick's rants. He's going to be ranting about Matt today. Baywoods, his bets, what are we going to be looking out for? And my game of the week, but I'm not sure. I might just pass on that. We'll see. I didn't really see any games I wanted to watch so far this week. But, as usual, playoffs are on, so I might change my mind. But, just like that, let's get started. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
I noticed you guys popped yours, but not mine. We're okay with that. So, for those of you who remember who've been watching us, you know we live in Connecticut. Connecticut is on the East Coast.
East Side.
Some of our favorite players and teams were on the West Coast. Matt's a Laker fan. /
No.
West Side.
Hold on. I forgot he's a recently converted.
He transitioned.
You know what? That's the thing. He transitioned into a Knicks fan. So he's not allowed to play sports. But he is a Luka fan who is a Laker.
Yeah.
Luka was a Mav. So a lot of the games we see Luka play are usually 9 o'clock at night. 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Because we're on the East Coast, 3-hour time difference. 1-2 hours in Texas, depending on where you are. So we don't get to see a lot of the games. Matt, I'm going to start with you because I just called you out on here.
Mm-hmm.
Being that there's a time difference going west or east, depending on what sport you're watching, in general, how has that shaped your thought and perception, or maybe in sports you've watched growing up?
So just because I'm an airhead, I don't know if we can tackle this in 3 different ways.
We will.
One, I'm going to start with my own personal, and then we'll move on to the other ones just because I lose my train of thought like an ADHD person. Like the dude from, like that little squirrel from the Ice Age that's looking for his acorn.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the dog from Up.
I mean, that works too.
It's a great movie. Up.
He's going to forget his thought.
No, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. I just didn't want to address all of my points in the same rant.
Get the first one and then we'll go.
So,
this is
for me, yeah, these are so good.
You're welcome.
By the way, before we get to my point, Nick brought over a 12-pack of these for my wife, who absolutely loves Cayman Jack, and that's basically how we found out that she was pregnant.
That is actually a true story.
Yeah.
He was making mac and cheese when it happened.
It was a Super Bowl.
These are that old?
Huh. Yeah.
Oh.
And they're still that good.
Wait, this is the same pack?
Yeah. I never opened it.
That's so funny.
I think we should have started,
Honestly, I just was like, yeah, whatever.
should have started the recording a little later.
That's hilarious.
We're drinking 4-month-old Cayman.
Hey, I mean, I wouldn't have known if you didn't tell me.
To the product. All right, Cayman, please. Sponsor.
All right.
I got mango.
So, me watching West Coast teams, yeah, especially during the week, it gets rough. You know, sometimes it even starts as late as 10:30, and I commute an hour to work, so waking up early to get to my job by 8:30 and watching a 10:30 game doesn't really bode well for me. Sometimes I can just either DVR it and watch it on the way down. Yes, I watch games while driving, but yeah, it's pretty difficult. You got to kind of watch the game with one eye open, try to sleep with the other eye closed. Very difficult to catch all the games. Yeah, I mean, especially because while we're trying to cover as many games as we can, I try to watch as many games as I can too. So I try to at least catch the first half for those. So I'll end up waking up and seeing some crazy buzzer beater that Halliburton hit, or Luka, LeBron came back. The Clippers had Harden will go back in time and drop 63 or something. I'll miss big moments. And on the West Coast games, NFL is a little bit better about keeping them around the same time for primetime games. Like they might start an hour later sometimes, but I'm pretty sure the Sunday night games are
always 8:30.
Yeah, 8:30.
No matter what.
Well, I just take that to go off that point real quick. That's a good point. Also, a good point. NFL football is usually on the weekends.
Right.
1 or 2 games.
The Thursday games, and then sometimes the Mondays they sometimes stack. That's where the time difference. If it's a West Coast game on a Monday night, they'll stack them so there's an East Coast team playing earlier and then a West Coast team playing after, or starting overlapping each other a little bit. But what were you gonna say, Cam?
No, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's not easy. So before we move to Nick, let me ask you another question on this. Growing up,
Yeah.
obviously our bedtimes, let's say 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock when you were younger.
Well, we could just call my mom out on this. For the most part, it was 7:30, 7 o'clock.
Okay, I was going to say young too, so that's not bad. So how do you think that affected what you watched on TV? Being that 7 o'clock, let's go 8 o'clock, we'll be generous. 8 o'clock. You aren't even getting those West Coast games, right? Unless they're playing East Coast teams.
Growing up, especially being as big of a Steelers fan as I am/was, because back in the day I didn't grow up with any siblings or anything. I used to go out in the yard, put a football on a kicking tee, and kick it into the tree in my neighbor's yard
No, facts.
every day. I just lived for football. Whether back when we couldn't get all the games at one time and we weren't old enough to go into the sports bars to watch them, you would have to wait till the game's over or halftime or watch some other game that you didn't want to watch and wait for that little highlight reel to pop up with the touchdown or something on it. Nostalgic, but I very much appreciate YouTube TV and the NFL Sunday Ticket. Number two on that, all the night games, I used to have to wake up the next morning and find out what happened. So I was basically unable to watch any, if not the majority, unless my mom was on vacation, of the Steelers or any games that I wanted to watch, even East Coast teams late. Basketball I didn't really get into until, I didn't really have a bedtime. So that didn't affect me much. I was able to watch the West Coast games while I was in college because nobody cares about bedtime in college. Facts. But now that I'm an adult, it matters, and I can't watch them, and sometimes it very much upsets me.
Can I ask you this last question before I get to Nick? You're a soccer fan.
Yeah.
How does that work in reverse? Because we'll go east of Connecticut now.
Right. So now the games are basically on during the day while we're working.
Mm-hmm. And during the morning.
Right. Yeah.
So... Or late night.
Those are... Soccer's different because it's not like something where you're going to miss some crazy play the majority of the time. Like, they replay a lot in those games, and the biggest highlights are crazy saves by the goalie or goals. And a lot of soccer games are 0-0 for regulation. They might go into some extra time. Some of them end ties. Mm-hmm. For the most part, they're low scoring unless you're Brazil versus Haiti, Tommy.
Didn't you that, Tom?
But those, honestly, I'll throw on at work, and I'll be able to, I watched the, the Champions League. I watched that at work. I watched the Portugal game.
After his work is done, of course.
I'll just glance over. I'll listen to it. I'll be listening to the game more than I am watching it.
You look at me like I'm judging you. I do the same thing. I'm not judging you.
I'm answering you.
Oh, fair, okay.
Yeah, so I'll listen to the games just to know what's happening, and then if I hear, once you hear, the soccer is very good about the announcers, getting into it when something's about to happen. So you hear and then you just look and you're like, oh shit. But yeah, I mean, soccer I think is easier to watch because it's still during the day and you're awake.
I will say I do feel soccer has the best announcers.
For sure. I was not doing a good reminiscence of one, but Nick probably has a better impression than I do.
I'm sure.
No, we don't.
I was just borderline opera right there.
We'll get one down the road. So Nick, well, for those of you who don't know, it is Nick's turn. Nick is one of the bonnet boys on our flag football team. He is actually in a bonnet right now.
It's my thinking cap.
It's his thinking cap.
Yes.
So he's on to it.
It also keeps my red locks of love intact.
Just a quick question. Are you trying to get us to convert to bonnets too, or is this just your thing?
Well, you're already now a Nick fan, so if you want to become a bonnet boy too.
Should we get orange and blue themed?
First of all, if this dude comes in
bonnets.
With the jackets?
Yeah.
With the black starter
Anyway. Nick.
Yes.
Time zones.
Yes. So.
Talk to me.
So, similar to what Matt was talking about with the West Coast games, when I was a kid growing up, baseball was big in our house during the week. So was WWF, but that's not the point. So, I got to miss out a lot on the Shaq and Kobe stuff, And I had a little Kobe basketball. It was purple, yellow, and black. And we had him doing, a little fadeaway and had, this little, not his real autograph, but Kobe was that dude, rest in peace. But he was on at 10 o'clock at night. So my dude by default became Jason Kidd because he played in New Jersey and the games were on at 7. So it that's just what happened. Had I, it's great because we can play 6 games at once now. Like Matt was saying with YouTube TV, the sports bars, all this stuff. You can put on golf, tennis, hockey, football all at the same time. Whereas when I was a kid on Sundays during football, it's a funny story. So growing up, we had 2 TVs in the house. We had one in the basement, and then we had one in my parents' bedroom. So CBS would have one game on at a time, and Fox would have one game on at a time. And so we used to run up and down the stairs during timeouts to watch both games. so we wouldn't miss anything.
Yeah.
We're like, how many yards did Curtis Martin get? And like stuff like that. Good times.
And
Man.
back at that time, you couldn't just move a TV next to another one too, because it had a cable line running through the floor.
The TV was also the size of a microwave. Yeah. So good times. I mean, I wish 10 o'clock games weren't at 10 o'clock at night, because like it's just so hard to be able to watch the whole game without losing sleep.
Yeah.
You know, I really don't want to stay up till 1 a.m. to watch, you know, the Lakers. As much as fun as the Lakers are to watch sometimes, and as good as those games are on the West Coast, I need my beauty sleep, man.
So let me ask you a question. I'm gonna flip the next question. I didn't ask Matt, but I'm gonna go on to the we're gonna play on the California Lakers concept. It's not so much Lakers, let's say. It's more of all California teams when you're watching on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Western Coast. Over Arizona, well, Arizona doesn't acknowledge it, but that location and over, we'll call it that. What do you think about the flip side? Our game being 7 o'clock, everyone on the East Coast is cool with it. 4 p.m. for them where they're getting out of work or still at work for another hour or 2 hours. What would you say if you're a West Coast person? Do you think they feel the same way about us? They should start the games later?
I mean, maybe,
Or do you think there's a bias, not a bias, but do you think there's a perception from the other way?
I think yes and no, because at least they could tune into the end of the early games when they get out of work. Whereas, you know, our games start on time for us in our time zone, but 10 o'clock at night start is tough. Whereas, like you said, I mean, I know the early games will start at 4, and their games are at 7. So, I mean, yeah, they might get out at 5:30, but they can catch the second half of the early game still, the early slate, and then get all their game in full.
So yeah, the earliest, I mean, the earliest NBA games that really start aren't really 7. I think it's like 7:30, because every time MSG plays, at least during the week, it's always 7:30. So they're a half hour before work. No. I'm just saying, a half hour. They're only missing a half hour of the game. That might be a quarter.
Maybe, yeah, if that.
And they start late sometimes. They don't start right at 7:30. They start like 7:40, 7:42, 7:43. They have an actual tip-off time, so they're really not missing much of the games at all. Were you continuing on the point? I kind of cut you off.
I was not continuing the point.
So yeah, I guess to add to that is no, I would rather live on that side to be able to catch all the sports that I can, because you're not going to miss anything.
Fair. No, I agree.
Unless someone has like 30 points in a half or in a quarter and you miss
Well,
it.
it's funny you said that.
Clay dropped 6 threes in a quarter one time.
Well,
Yeah.
Clay had, was it
He had like 36 points in a quarter.
Yeah.
And unless you wanted to watch that game,
Yeah.
it's
You would've missed
Tracy
that.
McGrady, 13 points in 30
Well, then you can
seconds.
do what we did do at work and watch the games at work too.
I mean,
We're not missing anything.
abdicating this. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely messed up a few times on the file I was working on, but I fixed it. But yeah, no, it's different. I'm gonna throw the other question back at you too.
Yep.
Let's go east of Connecticut.
Okay.
You are a rugby fan.
Hi.
How has living here affected you watching rugby? Or
I'm not
do you
gonna
not
lie.
watch rugby?
Well, I watch international rugby, like national teams. I watch like the Six Nations, which used to be the Five Nations back in the day. Another topic for another day. The Rugby Championship, which is another separate tournament with South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. 3 of the best teams in the world, or at least they were. You know, it's been a while since I've really got into rugby, like club rugby. There's so many countries and so many.
Yeah. It's like soccer. There's that many teams.
Well, the U.S. has a league too.
Let me tailor it this way. Since we haven't had one in the U.S. in a long time, the Olympics, always outside last few dozen years, always outside of the country. Coming to the country in 2 years, but right now outside over a year.
I think it's 2028.
It's 2028. Yeah, 2028.
I think so.
3 years.
Yeah.
How's that affected?
I ain't watching that in the morning. I'm sorry. Like my day, like I go to work at 8:30, but like 10 o'clock is when we really are awake. You know, so
Preaching the choir.
if they're
That's when I get bored.
I'm born at 8:31. But when they start doing like, oh, this event starts at 7:45, we got one less viewer. You know, so and it sucks because they're the best in the world at what they do, but a lot of times, the event's at 7 in the morning. What's that thing where they're on the ice and they're little sliding little
Curling?
thing, and then they're like,
curling. Yeah,
Curling.
you know,
that's a great event.
that's my curling noise. I'm just kidding, but like I'm not watching that at 7:45 in the morning. I'm just not doing it.
Okay.
If it was something like to me, if I feel like, if it was like, I hate to just make default basketball, but if USA was playing Serbia,
Wrong country, but sure.
but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that was put on at like 8:45 in the morning, which they wouldn't do. But if it were, I'd be up to watch that because it's something I want to watch.
I'd watch curling at 7:45.
I mean, I would too. I think I could be wrong. And I think about it. I think it was Greece. I personally am a huge Olympics fan. I watch all of them. Is there a sport that you would get up to watch in, let's say, the middle of the night? What I did multiple times when that believe the Olympics was in Greece. Got up to watch Michael Phelps. Got up to watch Justin Gatlin. All the mecca of the Olympics. So I felt like I was obligated to do.
Like, are we talking like the final heat?
No,
or
I'm
just
saying in general too. Cause don't forget,
a little pre
Watch trials too, right?
if you take team sports out of it for the most part and just do individual, you lose, you're out. There's no coming back.
Right.
So if you miss that run at 3:00 in the morning, bye. So that's why I'm saying, is there something that you would get up for to watch at like 2 or 3 in the morning our time, 4 p.m. their time, or something like that?
Probably not. That's just me. When I'm asleep, I'm asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like if it was like the 100-meter final,
It could be.
then maybe, because like they're done in 10 seconds type vibe. So it's like, damn.
You can go to the bathroom and watch it.
Like I would pee and then like they're done. But
Don't blink.
yeah, it's just so something like that. I would say yeah. But if it's like the early prelim, unless there was a specific person I wanted to watch compete, then yeah, sure.
Okay.
But most of the time, I'm going to bed.
I don't really miss swimming or track events. I just don't want to miss those.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with missing like the field events in a way. Like I don't really necessarily need to see the shot put, the pole vaulting, no matter how.
I love the pole.
I do too, but I'm just saying I'm not going to wake up at 3 in the morning to watch that.
Yeah, shout out the dude who knocked the pole off.
Long jumping, I mean, that's impressive as hell. I might get up to watch that, but if it's an actual, like, there's, like, 400-meter race, I'm getting up to watch that. If there's a 1,500, I'll watch the whole 1,500 track or swimming.
Yeah, mile is usually my cutoff. Anything over a mile, I can't get up early.
Like we're the marathon, we're like, oh, we're at mile 12 here, and he's still jogging.
I mean, how I get up to watch the Tour de France.
I'll watch
That's like 30.
You
30
just
some
go
odd
watch a
parts.
spin class at the YMCA. I'm not.
Nah, that's just lit. You fucking see them.
You know what freaks me out? If they do the
Unless
Olympics,
they
they have
fall,
the,
yeah.
what's it called?
That is hilarious.
Is it the triathlon? The triathlon with the water and shit?
Yeah.
Swimming, biking, and
There are
running.
sharks in that water, my guy.
And?
Well, they're not swimming out 45 feet deep, are they?
Yeah.
They're going out to like the freaking.
It depends.
Yeah.
I thought they came in like 10, 20
They
feet.
should
And
get
they
beat
go
in the
across.
shallows too. No, but like I always watch them like, because I remember one year someone did get bit, but does that not? It always pops into my mind every time.
That's natural selection.
I do. It has to be at that point. But that's why Tommy don't.
If you got bit, you
They all
didn't
think
swim
they're
fast
seals,
enough.
man.
It's crazy. But yeah, I just
Who
thought
was
we should have a
that? Who was
conversation
that
about.
lady that swam from Cuba to Florida? It was like Diana Nyad or something like that.
I was about to say, I feel a lot of people did that.
No, it was only one person successfully done it.
That's not where he's going with that.
No, it was a joke.
Oh.
It had to do with Cuba being like a bad government
Yeah.
type thing.
But she swam from like Havana to the Florida Keys.
Isn't that only like not say only? It's not like it's not like 2,000 miles. Isn't it only like 40 miles or something? I mean, 40. Let me not say that. 40 miles swimming is crazy difficult, especially in the ocean.
How far did Diana Nyad swim?
He just asked Siri people.
110 miles from Cuba to Florida.
That's crazy.
Straight.
Well, I guess if you're motivated,
It's controversial because the tech turned off for a period of time. So it's possible that her controversial that her world record is valid because she could have. In order to consider it like a constant swim, you got to have it, number one, documented, and number two, if the tech kind of fails at some point, then they're going to assume that you got pulled out of the water.
Yeah, that's a
But-
or you stopped.
Yeah, but so she was swimming through. Not only did she have shark-infested water, they had this like tech that was scaring the sharks away. They were like on like little boats around, and they had like these electrical impulses that
I
like.
don't give a. I'm not doing it.
And she was swimming through the Portuguese man-of-war jellyfish, and she got them on her face, and she came out looking like mangled and shit. She tried it like 4 or 5 times. And she almost did it when she was 23, but I don't think she actually successfully did it until she was damn near 70.
All right. Moral of the story: people set good goals, goals that are attainable, goals that are decent, that won't ruin your face or your life. That's all I can say to that. That's crazy. I am not the one for that.
But to answer your question, the triathlon, who gives a fuck about sharks?
I do.
Well, don't they do the triathlons in lakes too?
If there's a lake there, but it was not a lake
It'd be
in
cool to
Greece.
see like Lake
or in
Michigan
London.
or something.
London wasn't either.
Great Lakes. Swimming in the Erie Canal or something.
Bro, that
Oh,
shit,
not
that's
to
rough
mention,
water.
Hudson River, that'd be sick.
Not to mention when the Olympics come to LA, it's gonna Pacific.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the Pacific Ocean.
I would not swim in the Pacific.
Yeah, well, that's what we say, but then you're gonna have hundreds of people swimming
Yeah.
in the Great White Shark water.
Imagine if a shark just came out like.
You said that they're
Like
going to swim from
crawling.
Alcatraz?
I bet they do. I bet they do
Oh,
something
that would
like
be
that.
kinda cool.
That's kind of cool. Though.
That's like brick.
Round
That's like,
ball
that water's
games.
cold.
Well, yeah, it's cool, but it is what it is.
Well, the Pacific's colder than the Atlantic, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Anyway, that's gonna sum up our
Time
zones. I forgot the word. Only because we're kind of drifting on that one. So our next topic, we're gonna go back to a topic we had week 2 or week 3. A little controversial. I remember Nick was talking. Nick says controversial. Have an open mind when we talk about it. We're not some of us aren't taking sides. I know where I stand on this because I personally had really good friends, did a sport. They're girls. I think it should be separated. But we're going to talk about trans policy that came up in California, and we've recently had a trans athlete who is, I don't want to say controversial, but got disqualified for taking a stand. Not the trans athlete, the
regular one.
young lady, we'll say.
Yeah.
The lady got disqualified for taking a stand. Nick, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Trans athletes in sports. It's a hot button issue in our country. Everyone from the president to the lady down the street has an opinion on it, has a belief on it. Some parents fall one way, some parents fall another way. You actually do not need to be a parent to have an opinion on this. We were kids in school once. We did sports. We have opinions on it. We've seen everything. There was a fencer who took a knee and refused to fight. A trans athlete, young lady, refused to fight. She gave her 2 cents. I won't say 2 cents, but she gave her reasoning. She's been backed up by everybody there. They all believed in it. She was disqualified. Talk to me. Did she do the right thing, or should she have just fought?
I feel like any way we go about it, there's going to be some sort of, not necessarily controversy or, what's the right word I'm looking for?
You can't make everybody happy.
Right. I almost said a word that I don't think is a word. Disarmament. I don't think that's a word. But yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking about this because, we get the topics a little early.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
has some time to think about it.
Do some research.
Yeah. It kind of feels like the people that are for it don't want to hear arguments against it. And the people that are against it don't want to hear arguments for it. So it's a constant no resolution situation, I feel like. Because it ties in so much more than just sports. It becomes greater than that, We're talking about people's identities. We're talking about what even a right or wrong or ethics kind of questioning, So it's a very fine line. With that said, I'm kind of looking at this in 2 ways. One, I can understand why she did what she did.
Mm-hmm.
She has every right to do what she did. Whether you agree with her or not, that's her stance. That's her position. She made that decision at the end of the day. She has to stick with that decision. You know, whatever consequences come with it, that's your choice. If I was a competitor, I'd still compete because I'm not just going to forfeit if I got like that far into a tournament or something. I would never, ever quit or like forfeit.
I'm glad you said that.
The only time I've ever quit on anything was last fall in that flag football game. I caught a backwards pass and hummed that bitch to one of my teammates, and they said I was over the line when I wasn't, and I was like, screw this, I'm going home.
It killed all the momentum.
Yeah, that was different. But when it comes, and I'll say one more thing, and then this will be my last point.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, when I was a kid, there was these huge campaigns for empowering women's sports, right? Title IX and all that other stuff. And there was a big push for women's sports and men's sports as separate things. And we wanted the women to be able to have their own place so that they can be great and compete amongst women. And I think we've gone away from, apparently there's something wrong with being the best female athlete. For some reason. I don't know why that is. But apparently, wanting to be a good female athlete is frowned upon now. Because it's not inclusive, or it's not this, or it's not that. It's like, bro, you got Title IX for a reason. Plus, like, if she wants to take a knee, then that's her choice. We can't fault her for that. Like, if you think about it, she's going up against a dude. The dude, like, and this is going to sound really sexist, and I'm sorry. On average, men are athletically superior to women. On average.
I wanna quote something real quick, and I think it's in one of these things I printed out. It's from the California Family Council.
Okay.
And it was really interesting to me, and I was going to bring it up afterwards, but I'll bring it up now and I'll bring it up again because it's basically what you just said. We have had, and this is where the issue with trans athletes comes in. We have trans men wanting to be women, and it's affecting women's sports.
Yes.
And in the article I was reading, I will go on the record of saying, we have yet to see it the other way around, where it is actually affected and infected, effective, because of the comment you just said. Basically, I said men are bigger, faster, stronger. So if you're a woman wanting to be a man and you're already coming into a man's sport, you're already at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
There's not enough
That's fine.
testosterone in the world that's going to get you up to where they are. And that's why we may not care as much, because we know at the end of the day it's not going to affect anything with substance, I should say. It's not going to affect our eventual champions. It's not going to affect my getting a scholarship to some point. I'm a nobody in sports. I'll be honest, you will probably never know my name. But my high school time in track and field would have got me, what, silver at the Olympics if I were a female? So if I'm a nobody, not to be disrespectful to women, but I can do that, imagine what the somebodies can do.
Yeah.
Are you declaring a transition?
No, hell no. I don't have the money for that. Nor would I want to. I enjoy myself way too much. But my point being is that if they're transitioning and they can't beat me, then we're not worried about anybody else down the road. That's why it's not effective the other way. So that's just to continue with what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Like, I don't hear girls becoming dudes and dominating.
No, we don't. And
I'm sorry.
Probably never will.
And so then they're like, oh, we'll make mixed teams. Like, we'll do sports with
co-ed?
guys. Yeah, co-ed. Sorry. Mixed. Co-ed. Right? And a perfect example. Didn't they do, like, in the Olympics a year last time, where they did whatever relay it was? It was guys.
Relay.
Yeah, it was co-ed relay. I don't ever want to see that shit again. Because that girl had, like, a 35-yard head start and got smoked. It was like some black dude. I don't know who it was. But smoked her. It's like this. That's a prime example of what I'm like.
If it's a co-ed relay, they should have guys and girls in the same relay, like part of the relay.
The thought is the time will balance itself out, but it's actually not doing that.
It's
fun to see you have a huge lead where you put your players.
That's just to show the disadvantage right there.
It can, yeah.
That was like case study right there why they should be separate. I'm sorry. Like, do what you got to do. I don't have a vote in this matter. All I'm saying is, if I see a female trying to play football, put her in the Oklahoma drill. Let's see how long she wants to play. And if she could gut through that, listen, we have women in the military. We got women police officers. Women can do anything they put their minds to. No one's telling them no. But at a certain point, a dude should not be crossing into a woman's domain. It's just, to me, it's just not fair to them. It's just not. They're separate for a reason. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. And
take that how you want.
I will say, go back on this. When we graduated high school, we were at O'Grady Relays in Danbury. One of our events was the 8x1. Basically, it was our 4x1 team and our girls 4x1 team put together. And Brookfield, Danbury, all the schools had a team, and we all raced. And you can see, you picked your order. There were some guys, some girls that did it. We actually got first, but you blew by some people, and it was not. I mean, obviously it makes itself up, but it is different. There is a difference. Matt, do you think that she should have been disqualified for standing up for what she thinks is right?
Hang on, because Nick made a point that I want to counter, and it was the fact that, in a way, I agree with what you said. With she should compete just as a competitor, and that you're not going to quit.
I'll just say that if I were
me, right. But think about it from this perspective. If she competed and won, that would enable them to be like, oh, see?
Yeah.
Trans men aren't at an advantage.
That's a fair point.
The fact that she wasn't even willing to compete is more power to the movement than if she would have competed and won. Or if she competed and lost, then what? She gets demoralized by losing to a man, or she wins and then that throws the argument out the window.
Let me ask you this question, and I'm going to switch it up. I did not ask you this question, but you can push back on it after if you feel. Do you think it makes a difference being a sport that you may not need to be as athletic in, a la fencing, as opposed to something where we're in the gym 5 days a week trying to get physically better in?
I think
would fencing be a sport where you might say, all right, I could understand if she really had to like tackle, hit, or whatever, but because it's more technique and skill, do you think that would have been like, okay, why did you?
It is technique and skill. I don't know the dimensions of this individual that she was going to be fencing against. I don't know if they have height classes or whatnot, but men typically have longer arms than women too, so that might give some sort of advantage.
Yeah.
So I think any sport really that has that sort of thing, like
harder or something.
Right? Like it's not like we're playing cornhole, pool, bowling, this, that, and the other thing. Where it's more of a technique only. Like it's there's more controls in a fencing than there is in like a sport like that. Like you can't mix and match combat. That's technically similar to a combat sport in a way, except for you're not actually
it's
hitting
like control.
Yeah, exactly. Like you got padding and whatnot, but you could have more reach. You could have faster ability. I mean, you can make the argument either way, but no, I just think that if she's going to be making this movement, it should be from any sport.
Okay. No, I agree.
And so do I agree that first of all, good for her for taking the knee. So that should speak for itself.
By the way, her name is Stephanie Turner, just so people out there can know if you want to look her up. She does an article, transgender woman's name.
Just to make it clear again, I'm not denouncing. She had every right to do what she did.
Facts. The trans person's name is
Hey, sleepyhead. What's up, buddy? Oh wow.
Okay. Tommy poked his head out, so Nick had to say hello.
Tommy, you were introduced last week as the guy that ran into the Long Island Sound after the girl when you can't swim.
Well, yes, of course.
We'll introduce you to him when he's done taking care of himself right now. The other person's name is Red Sullivan. So those are
His name is Red.
Her name is Red.
Sorry, sexy motherfucking Red. My fault. Sorry.
So yeah.
Tommy's making a face through.
I mean, you can pick your own names, but
Ew.
those are their names. Matt, over to you.
Yep.
Back to where we were with standing up for what you believe in. Should she be commended, or should she? Well, where do we go from here? Let me ask that question. Where should this girl go from here? That she just got disqualified from a tournament. Is it something she says, should she look through it next time and then not participate? Or do you think she should say, no, I want to not play?
Whoever's in charge of these sports, this should not be up to the government. This should be up to the players. Should be something that, if obviously this is a one-on-one sport.
Yeah.
So if she gets a movement behind it, you need to start listening to the players. If players start petitioning for turf fields to be removed, they should be listening to the players. Because that's where your money's coming in. This is like if you're competing for golds, who wants to compete? Tommy, just as a point here. Would you want Mikey's sister competing against a dude in track?
Hold on.
Is there an immediate advantage to that? To a disadvantage for Mikey's sister against a man running track?
Absolutely. Different body makeups. Women and men are not the same biologically or not anatomically.
That is good to know. Actually, we'll transition into our next topic then on this subject. A new California policy. We have, obviously, we said before, Connecticut and California kind of leading the way in pros and against transgender athletes, both for and against, depending on how you look at it. Connecticut, we had some controversy a few years ago. We had two transgender students win their respective classes of the 100-meter dash in, I don't say non-ladylike, but in a little aggressive fashion. And then they went to state opens, which is the whole state together, and placed 1 and 2. California, bigger state. Sorry, ladies in Connecticut, but better athletes in California. We had a transgender athlete win 2 out of 3 of the events, but the new policy is they cannot take a podium spot away from a young lady. So, in essence, we're not really acknowledging their win, but we're letting them participate. So, this person got first. They stood on the podium by themselves, got their medal, and then afterwards, the rightful winner and everybody else went on the podium.
Okay, so before the show, when you sort of briefed us on this article, I was assuming that they were up there with athlete
let me put it this
on
way.
the podium.
They were,
Yeah.
but same as the fencing situation,
Yeah.
the kids decided not to be on the podium because it wasn't a female. So they acknowledge it, but they don't acknowledge it. Policy lets them compete, lets them get a medal, but there's 2 gold medals if they win gold or silver or whatever, and then the other one goes to the lady for their...
I'm going to let you two speak on this after a second, but I'm just going to put something in here about mixed martial arts since we talked about this last week. And we've seen this before, where a transition man fights in like a mixed martial art match. That is literally a dickless dude sexually assaulting, or not sexually assaulting, just assaulting a woman legally, physically assaulting. I mean, come on.
Look,
So I'm just going to, we all know my opinion on this, and the fact that if you were biologically a man, you should be participating in either men's sports or have a dedicated trans athlete program. Or if you're a transition woman to a man, then you can still participate in men's sports.
I would say no. I would say to that one, I would say, if we're going to keep it one for one way, keep it the other way.
Understood. I'm fine with that.
I wouldn't okay it, because then people
Right,
come
then
back and say,
Not fair.
not fair.
So I'm fine with either keeping them in the respective born categories or creating a separate genre, aka a separate athletic program for them. I'll let you both fight over who goes.
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask. I'm gonna, but I'm okay. So let me ask you this question here, and then we'll get to Tommy and we'll get to Nick. Are you okay with the law? We're not taking anything away from the female athletes. They still win. They still get their first. They get their second. The trans community is happy because their athletes get to compete. Are you okay with it or
No, because
You're
you're watching the race and you're seeing somebody else cross the finish line first, even though they're not technically winning. They are winning, but not winning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as fulfilling, I feel like, to the athlete to cross second or third and still win than it is to be the actual first person to cross that finish line. So no, I don't agree with it at all.
In the world of track and field, there must be a fastest and there must be a slowest. In a girl's race, and a trans girl is racing, right?
Mm-hmm.
She wins. She's not the fastest girl at the event, right? So, letting them take the podium, that's great and all for like, being more inclusive. But in terms of like what track and field means to me personally, like I'm the fastest at what I do. If I were back in high school right now and I decided to become a woman, right? My times compared to some of the girls that were in the track program when I was in high school, I'd probably be all New England's.
Cam made a point that he would have been an Olympic silver if his high school times were on the female side.
And that's the crazy part. And
so then
that's why I look at some of these times these kids are running, and not to throw shade on some of these ladies, I'm not doing that. But the times they're beating with some of these girls aren't winning on the men's side.
No.
Because they're not the creme de la creme men that are transitioning. So that's the part where I'm like, it was they said it about swimming, the kid who went swimming years ago. But it just boggles my mind. Before I finish and get to my point, Nick, talk to me. You've heard his name.
Their name.
Their name, A.B. Hernandez, won 2 out of 3 events.
This is the track runner.
It's the track runner in California.
Person.
Oh, we're going to get some comments.
It's a joke, relax.
It's the track
person.
person, yes.
The pronouns, only pronouns I care about are let me she them titties. You won't get
We're not posting this.
Let me she
Please
them.
make sure this is explicit this time.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
Do you feel that the policy is at least a step in the right direction?
Politically, sure.
In general.
To Tommy's point, it's a step towards giving them a place to still compete.
Mm-hmm.
Grant, and okay, I'm actually being serious here now. The last part was a joke. Okay, these trans athletes are still working extremely hard to train and prepare their bodies, and especially if they're at school, they got to make their grades and practice and all this stuff. So yes, should there be a place for them to compete? I can understand that perspective. Right? They're putting in the work. Mm-hmm. It's an opportunity to run. Right? Okay. I can understand that side. However, this woman who won trans woman who won 2 out of 3 events. Mm-hmm. Right? You said she was on the podium by herself?
Yeah, the other kids wouldn't get on, but yes.
The other girls wouldn't even. So, are we even acknowledging this person as as a peer when that happens? They're not.
I don't know how the rules come out, but they are not.
They are not in that moment.
Not.
They are the competitors there did not.
Correct, because they don't look at it as.
So if they don't recognize them as a woman, why are these committees? Right. This is all about the athletes at the end of the day. This is about the student athletes or whatever. And I feel like this is a bigger issue in like high school.
But isn't a trans person a student athlete?
But they're not, like, if all the female student athletes have a problem with it, we have a bigger problem than that trans athlete being a student athlete. Because they could just compete against the men. But they won't because they'll lose.
I'm gonna say how to say it nicely because I don't want to offend any females that won in some of the states that aren't as high class or high level as some other states. The reason we don't see it past this is because the ones who are winning are barely winning, and they're not, again, the creme de la creme going there. So we see it, but not at a part that we're going to see. Like, we're not going to see the female basketball player go to Connecticut, Tennessee, UConn, South Carolina, Notre Dame, and be on TV every day. We're not going to see that right now. It's something we're not going to see it. We can tell. The coaches wouldn't recruit it, and we wouldn't see it. Too much controversy. Yeah. But at a lower level, would they? Where maybe people don't, every game's not on TV. Team may not be that good. You may not even heard of it. Would they do it? They might.
And to be fair, we are 3 people that watched the WNBA before Caitlin Clark got there. So it has nothing to do with popularity in that point. We still love watching all sports, whether it's men or women. Yeah. So it's not like we're throwing shade on.
I think
some of the best athletes in the world are females.
Women. Currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cindy McLaughlin. Love her.
Yeah, oh yeah. But
Simone Biles.
She should have been
Coco Golf. Shout out my girl.
Yeah,
she just
Coco,
won Women's.
Yeah.
Wait, is it Women's? Is that what it's called?
The French Open.
French Open. Yeah.
French Open. Yeah. But
You shouted that out last week, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I watched every point.
Love
I think
girl.
one last point I'm going to make. I think the biggest issue now, I don't even think it has to do with sport. I think we're exemplifying this. We're making this like. I feel like this doesn't even happen that often in sports, but it's the biggest issue. It's front page news.
Yeah.
It's on every news bulletin. It's to me. I think, not saying we need to put less attention to it, because I don't think that helps either. But I think part of the problem is it's forced down our throats to make us pick a side. Mm-hmm. And whenever that happens, when you wedge it, there's no way it's ever going to be
I gotta say that we probably would never have covered fencing on this show.
Yeah, if it weren't for her taking a knee.
Yeah.
I don't watch fencing.
Probably.
I didn't even know there was a trans person in fencing.
Fencing's pretty entertaining.
Oh, it is. It is,
But
but again, we could have covered it on the show, but that's not something that we're in expertise on.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I hope they find some resolution, because I'm tired of hearing it. But
they're dragging it out for political difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
that's what I think is the biggest problem.
So what happened years ago, and you can say years ago, and proud to be from Connecticut. It was I believe it was a Connecticut athlete. Mm. And obviously, some families in Connecticut in certain towns have a lot of cachet and a lot of money to be able to do what they want to do. That this was brought to the attention of the national media or Connecticut media because they happened.
Yeah.
From the national media, it went to local media went to the national media. Oh, and guess what was happening around that time? An election. So then everybody had to choose and pick a side because it was going to be a big topic. So whoever picked the non-inclusive side was the one who we're all talking about now. But no, it started nationally here, something that we've probably had for a while. It started nationally in Connecticut, became during a political topic. Then once it was a political topic and the presidential candidates were talking about it, and then you won, now you have to address it.
It's a brush fire that became a wildfire.
Exactly. So that's why it's such wildfire right now, because there is no, I can't say that and believe what I'm about to say, so I can't say that, but I'll say it. There is no right way to do it. It's not as simple as, well, you're a female, you're a male. It would have been if we just never acknowledged it, but because we made it a big political debate, everybody's coming in and got an opinion on it. And now, here we are years later, and I feel bad. The people who are suffering are both the young ladies trying to compete, but also these trans athletes too. Everyone's suffering. People don't want them included, but they want to be included. It's hard. I'm not going to equate it to this, and I know I'm going to catch a lot of shit from people, and people are going to look at me the wrong way. But to an extent, it's almost like being a black man in America sometimes. Go back to years before. We weren't allowed to do sports. They had to be separate. Then when we did compete, we weren't allowed. It didn't count. Am I saying trans athletes are blacks? No. But can I understand where they're coming from? Yes. Am I a hypocrite? Do I believe they should be competing with women? No. Because I've been in the trenches with women while they're working and while they're trying to get better. I've said it before on our show. 2 people. I'll name drop. I don't think I did, but I will. Dara Samuel, Lauren Tans. Look them up. They're both state champions at one at pole vaulting, one at hurdles. Go to the year they both won and go to see what the guy pole vaulted and see what the guy hurdled. They get smoked. And that's years of work down the drain. So that's how I feel.
Can I interject one more point before?
We're going to let topic after this.
I don't remember if you were on this team with me at WestCon, because we did a couple years of intramural flag football there. Mm-hmm. I just don't remember if you were in Haiti for this particular year. There was one particular female athlete that joined the men's flag football league. Do you remember her? Mm-hmm. Or were you not there? Okay. So then this was on the team with the second team when you were in Haiti. So we were playing, and then all of a sudden there was like there's a girl on the line, and Will, all of our friends, went and she was playing offensive line. She wasn't even built like a line. She was built like skinnier than me. Okay. And she was playing offensive lineman, and Will was trying to go easy on her, and she literally told Will to his face, "I will kick you in the nuts if you don't go full speed on me." Because she wanted the best of the best competition.
Yeah, to me that subject reminds me of girls who grow up with older brothers playing sports with their older brothers.
I think that's exactly what the case was.
And I think that's great in general in theory.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't care what any of these brothers say about their sister. They're not going 100%. 1, their parents would kill them if they did. 2, it would probably not be fun for the girl.
Yeah.
I don't care what they say. It's not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If she told me go 100%, I'm burying her.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm burying her.
I will say this.
You've seen me run Jeff out of a play? You've seen me run Jeff out of a play, right?
Who's Jeff?
That kid from Meriden.
Oh, the kid that doesn't brush his teeth?
Yeah. So, that's a grown man at least 250 pounds.
Oh, I know Jeff.
Can you, next time you pile drive him into the ground, can you drop him some Colgate?
Can we not talk about people you want to watch or listen to the show?
Yeah, please subscribe.
Anyway, we're gonna move on. You gotta tell him not to listen to this episode.
When you got orange teeth.
Let's change the subject. Let's get a little happier here. We're gonna get happy. Have some happiness right here. We live in the golden age almost of sports. I feel we have had, or since we've been alive, we've seen some of the best players in their respective sports.
LeBron James, GOAT. No, I'm
play.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Whether it's basketball, like Matt just said, you can go to soccer. We've seen some really great soccer. I've seen a lot of soccer players come through.
Seen a lot of soccer players.
We can go track and field, swimming, gymnastics too. We've seen Simone Biles, but before her, we've dozens of female athletes that come through. I'm not even don't even remember the girl's name, but I've referenced her before, and we see her on every Nike commercial coming when the Olympics come. The girl who broke her ankle, femur, still did the round off the thing, landed on one leg.
And yeah.
So we've seen a lot of great athletes, every sport. Let's go towards some of them that are still playing or winding down their careers. Tommy, I'm going to ask you a question. We'll start with you.
Okay.
Pick an athlete and think about their legacy. Are they still playing? They're still playing.
Doesn't have to be female, by the way.
Doesn't be male, female. Think of their legacy. Is their legacy set if they're still playing? Or can it still be altered? Can it go up? Can it go down? Or is it set? Or should it be set?
Okay, so first thing that comes to mind when you say that is Lionel Messi.
Okay.
And his legacy. And in his case, his legacy is set, but winning that World Cup took it to another level. That made him almost like undebatable, the greatest soccer player of all time. In terms of his position, goal scores, championships that he's won, and winning on all different levels, winning in Europe, the leagues in Europe, Copa America he's won, and now obviously the World Cup. So like his
So when
legacy.
Ronaldo wins this year, and Ronaldo
Yeah,
tops
you'll get your
Messi,
turn. You'll get your turn.
I'm just asking him a second question.
Well, wait till he's finished making his point, and we'll get to this question.
So like I was saying, that's a legacy that's already been set, and I don't think it can decline, but it can. What is there left for him to win now?
So he's still
An
playing.
MLS championship?
I mean, he's still playing.
Uh,
So at a high level, but let's say he falls off a cliff, not literally but figuratively, and he's just god awful the next 3 years. Will that affect his legacy?
Absolutely not.
So you don't think so? It doesn't matter kind of what he does going forward. Where his legacy is set.
His
or not.
legacy is set in stone. You have to remember, Messi played with some of the greatest soccer players of all time during his come up, and still playing at a high level right now with some phenomenal soccer players in the MLS. He even got teammates from his golden era in Barcelona playing with him still. So that legacy, like I said, it's already set. There's no point in his career as he's getting much older now that could decline his career.
So
Unless there's like a scandal of him maybe doing drugs and like taking, performance boosters so that he could keep playing now that he's getting older. But besides that, set in stone.
So outside of a PED, there's nothing really that would touch his legacy. We think he's set. He's, in your eyes, undisputed number one in his position, not being touched. From here on out, it's just fun for him.
From here on out, it's just supplemental.
Okay.
And giving the fans a chance to still watch him at a high level, just not as competitive as
Where he is.
as where he was.
Yes. Okay. That's interesting. I like to see. So his legacy can't be touched. Nick, you are up, my friend. Who are we looking at for you as a legacy standpoint?
that can't be
Do you
touched.
think legacies are set and the athlete's still playing or competing and can't be touched? Or as long as you play, your legacy could go up or down? And give us who you're
If
talking
we're
about.
looking at it from a just on field or in sport legacy,
Who's the person?
whatever they're, don't give me a prelude to my point yet. When it comes to that kind of stuff, their on the field accomplishments I don't think can be really touched. I mean, he took Messi. That was going to be one of my people that I picked.
Surprise guest, Tommy.
One person that I think of is I can't really think of any. Oh, actually, I got a good one. I'm gonna go with Manny Pacquiao, the boxer from the Philippines. The reason I'm gonna pick him, this is a guy who was one of the best boxers in the world. He's a small guy, but then he went out and went to go do politics. Became a parliament member or whatever in the Philippines. Came back to boxing and still boxes at a high level. Actually, I don't know if he just retired or if he's still boxing, but he's getting like he's also like in his 40s. So like to me, that's an example of someone I don't think whenever he's brought up, it'll never be in a negative light. Like when you think of Manny Pacquiao, you think of not only his greatness in the ring, but you think of his integrity, his compassion and his care for his people, wanting to give back, like almost like Ali. Not to that level of Muhammad Ali, but it kind of cut from that mold where it was bigger than boxing. So to me, that transcends the ring, and I don't think his legacy will be touched. And then the flip side of that, someone where his in-ring legacy will never be touched, in my opinion, despite the whole Netflix thing with Jake Paul, is Mike Tyson. Because that dude was the baddest man on the planet. Some revere him as one of the greatest heavyweight boxers that ever lived. No one wanted to fight Mike Tyson in his prime. Nobody. But he allowed all that kind of stuff to get to his head. He was around Rodney King, the wrong group of people, went to jail, came back. And you kind of started seeing the decline of him as a person. But then he got sober and all that stuff. Started coming back up. I think he still smokes weed now, but he like the roller coaster ride. That to me defines a legacy too. When you have the way up, the meteoric up, the massive downfall, and then the recovery. To me, Mike Tyson is a legend and can never be touched, because when you look at him as a boxer, in his prime, he was compared to Muhammad Ali. He was compared to Jack Dempsey. He was like the GOATs.
But now he lost to Jake Paul.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
And you know what? Despite that, at 58?
Yeah.
We all wanted him to knock Jake Paul the
Hell
fuck out.
yeah, I watched that fight.
For Mike, not for Jake.
Yep.
If that doesn't speak... And he has a Fidel Castro tattoo on his abdomen. Okay? If that does not define his legacy, I don't know what will.
How do you know that is beyond me?
It's his shirt's off.
Shirtless.
See, it's a whole face like that. Yeah, dude. But we tuned in to see just the hope, the slim glimmer of hope and chance that we see one more Mike Tyson moment.
And we all knew it only took one punch.
It only took one punch. So in terms of that, to me, that's an example of an up and down and back up. To me, Pacquiao, Tyson, they cannot be touched.
That's fair.
My turn?
No, we're skipping.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
No, it's not Ben. It's actually another Steeler currently.
Let's go to
Juju.
Matt.
Call off.
Matt. Let's go to you for this one.
I'm ready, Cam. I got two.
Who? Oh, you got two?
Yeah. Go ahead,
I
Cam.
bet you do. Who are you going to tell us legacy is set in stone and cannot be touched, no matter what, if they're still playing or participating, competing, no matter what they do going forward, their legacy is set.
Okay, so then I have three. One's kind of a gag one.
Everybody else says one, but he says three. Okay.
No,
I
he
said
said two. So we got a one, two, three.
Oh, so I got to have four?
You gotta have four, and then
You're
I'll
the moderator.
Well,
You can go to the next
both of y'all
question.
just
Probably
extra.
will.
That's
Probably wasn't good.
Number one is going to be LeBron James. This is the gag one. His legacy is set for ruining the All-Star game in the All-Star weekend in the slam dunk contest.
It's not really a gag. It's not really a gag. But continue.
His legacy is set for that. His legacy is also set for being a stat padding finals disappointment and needing to have a super team to win. And that's all I'm going to say about LeBron James. The current one that legacy is set is Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to pick two quarterbacks.
Patrick Mahomes. Wow.
Patrick Mahomes' legacy is already set. He has, in the first few years, he already has 3 Super Bowl wins, 2 MVPs. He's been to
I think
4 or 5 Super Bowls.
5, I think.
He's already been to 5 Super Bowls. He's been to the AFC Championship every year that he's been a starter.
Okay.
And he's, I think, Pro Bowled every year that he's been a starter too. I think if you boil that into, that's more than average
It's a Hall of Fame career.
it's a Hall of Fame career in the first 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, devil's advocate here. He doesn't go to another Super Bowl the rest of his, let's say he plays another 8 years.
Yep.
Does that change the way you feel about him?
No, because if we're saying that Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer for winning 2 Super Bowls.
I have a take on that, actually.
We'll get there.
But
On Eli Manning going to the...
No, not that.
Oh, gotcha.
But
So, no, I think that he already made his case for the Hall of Fame. He's in it, and now he's just chasing Brady.
Okay, so one thing I see different between what you two did and what Matt did, I'm not saying it's wrong. Don't take that at all. I understand what you're saying. You all went to people who are at the top and can't be touched. Patrick Mahomes is right here, but you're saying Brady's here. So is his ceiling legacy here?
Hold on.
If he were to not win another game?
But were we saying legacy as GOATs? Or were we saying
However
legacy?
you interpret the question.
Yeah, so I'm saying that his legacy as like an all-time great. I mean, he's probably, I'd say as a quarterback, he probably has the most skill. Like as a dynamic player, I'd say he's better than Brady. He just doesn't have the accomplishments that Brady has. Because he could throw in the run well, he could scramble, he could throw farther. He does improv throws behind the back, no look lefty. Like he does more with the football and captures your eye more than Brady did because he was dink and dunk, bomb down the field. But in terms of if we're talking about GOAT legacy, no, he has time. He has a little ways to go before he can be named the GOAT. Especially after this atrocity that we just saw in the Super Bowl this past year at the hands of the Eagles.
So did this? Who was at the hockey game?
Did this Super Bowl hurt his legacy?
Super Bowl hurt his legacy?
No.
Okay.
He has 3 wins, right, in the Super Bowl? I believe so.
3.
Because this was about to be a 3-peat, and yeah. So no, it did not.
Okay.
I think it might show that he's plateauing, but I don't. The fact that he got there with the team that he had was pretty remarkable in itself. They were barely squeaking by games through the whole season.
We watched them all together, basically.
I might have. I took some time to think about this because I may have had another take when we talked about this during the Super Bowl. I don't think that it does. Now, the player that I think that their legacy can be changed is Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh.
Because he's beyond criticized, and I'm probably one of them that criticizes him for being a one-and-done diva that beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl when he was young and then has been just a regular season, can't get it done in the biggest moments. 2 points. One, that it's not just Brady that's able to win in an unfamiliar setting. He could go to the Steelers. Yeah, the Jets might have just been the same old Jets cursed as last week's possible.
I don't believe in curses.
He got hurt. He just came back from the Achilles tear, and it looked like he started to return back to, somewhat of himself by the end of the season when they started not having to care about winning. They just started playing. And the coach being fired right away didn't help either. However, if he wins with the Steelers, that just shows that it wasn't a one-hit wonder. He goes to an unfamiliar territory. He goes to, a team that he's not familiar with. Literally, not one player, not one coach. He's not accustomed to being around. He goes to a new system and he can win. It's a completely different style of offensive coordinator too, because in Green Bay and in the Jets it was pass heavy. Arthur Smith is a run-dominant offensive coordinator. So it'll show that he's not necessarily a system quarterback. It'll show that he's not just a 4-time MVP that can't get it done in the playoffs. It'll prove the point that he's still a clutch quarterback. And I think that there's a lot of upside to him winning a second Super Bowl to cement him as an all-time great quarterback. Post-regular season as well.
It's actually a very good take.
It is a good take. I disagree.
You agree or disagree?
I disagree. I do not think Aaron Rodgers winning a Super Bowl with the Steelers will sway me on his legacy. I think another Super Bowl is always great. No one's saying they're not great. You want to go first?
I was going to ask, do you think that his legacy is intact already or that he does not have one?
I think...
Just to get that perspective.
Let me just say it this way. I think how we feel, and I got to take Matt out of the equation because, guys, he is a Steelers fan for a second. I think the way people feel about Aaron Rodgers is the way people feel about Aaron Rodgers. I don't think winning with the Steelers is going to change that because I think the moment they win, the moves they've made, other people will get the credit first. Now, what will we say if the Steelers win? Well, first of all, I'm sorry. I don't see the Steelers winning the Super Bowl this year.
I don't either, but I'm saying
but
if it happens.
If they win, who are we going to look at? We're going to look at and say, oh, Aaron Rodgers threw the ball, but who did he throw to? Threw DJ Metcalf. Wow, we finally can see DJ Metcalf on the biggest stage. Great. DK. Sorry, I was thinking DK Metcalf. Sorry, not a Seahawks fan, so I didn't get the name right.
Go DK.
What are we going to look at next? TJ Watt. Wow. Finally get him on the biggest stage again, too. So, as good as Aaron Rodgers will get a lot of credit, but he won't be the first person I think we look at. We will look at Steelers who've been there in TJ, Mike Tomlin. Then when we look at a receiver who's not had a quarterback. Geno Smith, you're great, but you're not that dude.
Yeah, Russell Wilson.
Mr. Unlimited.
Continue. Trust me, people.
I was just about to do that. You beat me by 1 second. I was watching his face to be in complete
way
silence.
More happy Sierras in New York than Russell Wilson. Let's be honest. But that's my take on that. I think people have their thoughts on Aaron Rodgers already. If he would have won with the Jets, it would have been the first team after you left Green Bay. Maybe you would have considered, okay, you know what? Maybe, yes, you got hurt. You came back. You were the one talking about that you can come back before the season ends. You didn't do it. Good. You came back the following year. Good numbers, but you didn't play great.
Before Nick goes, you could say the same argument about T.O. being off the field. And on the
Terrell Owens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you agree with him not being as great as because people view him differently because of what he says rather than what he does on the field?
Well, I'm going off of Aaron Rodgers' play. I'm not going to go off of what someone does off the field. Actually, I could. We can get into both conversations.
But if you go
off the field,
but you can't. He was a 4-time MVP.
Okay. I'm not saying he's not great. Is he the best receiver? Hell no.
Who's Aaron Rodgers in a receiver? Oh, we're talking about I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers as a 4-time MVP.
No, but you brought T.O. into it.
I know I did because T.O. was shamed from the Hall of Fame due to his off the field antics.
So that's a Hall of Fame committee's decision to do.
Yeah.
We're talking about our individual legacies.
But shouldn't that be declared just based off the field rather than on and off?
No, and I'll be honest, only because of this. Because it's the NFL and we give awards for doing stuff off the field too, and off the field is combined with it. I can understand why they didn't. Do I feel? No, I think what you do on the field should not affect. Look, I'm not saying go beat little kids off the field and be like a great NFL player. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying when they're voting for Hall of Fame, if they think that it goes hand in hand with off the field and you've done some stuff off the field you're not proud of, then yeah, it ain't happening. Michael Vick ain't getting in.
If he wants to go
right now at least. Let me tell you what did beating dogs, what did dog fighting have to do with what you did on Sundays? Nothing. Personally, I'm sorry, I'm not saying people should be dog fighting, but what you do off the field, to me personally, I don't think that should affect anything of your getting into it. But I understand people who say it does.
So Shannon Sharp should be removed.
Once you're in, that is a
whoa.
whole nother discussion being removed once you're in, which we can address.
We already talked about that, didn't we?
No.
The Shannon Sharp thing?
No, we talked a little about him, but Tommy said removed from the Hall of Fame. That would be a separate discussion nonetheless. Because we did talk about what's Nick, the one.
How are you going to say that with no proof that he did what he did?
Into the Hall of Fame, or just got.
No one offers $10 million.
I know we're talking about it.
I said that too. But
anyway,
they made a good point about that a couple weeks ago. You got to check out the episode.
Nick, you're up.
What's up?
Talk to me.
About what?
You had something you wanted to say.
Oh,
about Patrick Mahomes, right?
Patrick Mahomes. Oh, that's my other one.
Yeah. So, I think he's a Hall of Famer already. He's got 3 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs. He's 29 years old. He's already completed a Hall of Fame career at 29. I don't think he's plateauing. I think the team is plateauing, not him.
Right.
He's just entering his prime.
Get rid of Kelsey.
Although his
Kelsey's
so you're saying that his
900 yards.
You're saying that his statistics are going down because the team isn't up high enough. Gotcha.
So are we willing? I don't want to say we.
What this Super Bowl loss did, though, is that I don't know if it completely hindered, but it has definitely damaged the GOAT debate between him and Tom Brady.
That I agree.
For now.
I will say
and I think that was what my take was.
Actually. I will say, I will say this. On that note, I will say this. And going back to your comment on Aaron Rodgers, I don't think there's anything we can do that's ever going to put Aaron Rodgers above certain quarterbacks in the GOAT debate. It's never going to happen. I don't think, even if he wins the Super Bowl this year, it doesn't happen. He can win back-to-back. It's still not going to happen.
Agreed.
Patrick Mahomes had a terrible Super Bowl against Tom Brady. We all saw it.
Sure did.
Then came out, and we were saying, oh, he's never going to be better than Tom. Then came out, went back-to-back. So what did that do for his legacy? Oh, well, wait, maybe we were wrong. then came out and had the Super Bowl against the Eagles. We dropped him down again. I think he's more inclined to be able to bounce back and have us forget his losses and not put them... He still has a shot to get to where he wants to be. And we'll look at all this as the steps getting there. Aaron Rodgers, it's already said. If you retire after the Steelers win, which you would, let's say, if they won this year. We all know you're on for 1 year. You've got 2 Super Bowls in your Hall of Fame career.
Mm-hmm.
Great. But what are we going to take away from you? That you couldn't get it done in the years between. You can win an MVP. It's great. Look at Cam Newton. You can win other MVP.
Go ahead.
You can win MVPs. We do it in every sport. What do we base you on?
Winning.
What you do at the end of the year. Has he not been to the Super Bowl? Or I should say, not Super Bowl. Has he not been in the biggest games of his career and not won? What do we look at Aaron Rodgers and say? We've said it last year. We said it when they were playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We were looking at Aaron Rodgers. What the fuck are you doing?
We watched that at your apartment.
We did. Even when he was playing his last few years with the Packers. He didn't have anybody to throw to. I'm not saying that justifies it. But there are better decisions you could have made than you currently did. You went to the Jets. You got hurt. We're all sorry about it. But you didn't lead that team the next year like people wanted you to. Or not even, let me take that back. Like you should have. Did you put up decent numbers? Put up decent numbers. But did you make your receivers better? No. Did you make the coaching staff better? Half the coaches got fired. No. So...
There was a lot of reports, and I don't know if this is just from Aaron Rodgers, but they were not like Mike Williams was not running the routes that were called. They were not running the right plays. We know how frustrating that is in our own teams, and we can't blame the quarterback for that.
I will blame the quarterback that the receiver that he wanted, the 2 receivers he wanted, were Jets. So I'm not going to take the one receiver when the other 2 did not get better. That came with you. We had Devontae Adams, who could have gone to almost any other team, chose to come play with you. And oh, by the way, might have had the worst season I think I've seen from Devontae Adams in years.
To be fair, Devontae Adams and Derek Carr played together in college, and when they went and played with each other in the NFL, it was not the same chemistry.
But my point is this, is that we looked at Devontae Adams as, wow, the Jets are going to be really good. After the season, we're like, where was Devontae Adams? Now, we will give some of the offensive coordinator some issues on that too, because he could have done a better job. But, Aaron, you wanted him there. That's the best you could do. Even if you pick one person to trust and throw the ball to, I don't care what the play call is. That's your safety net. What happened? So, I think the way we feel about Aaron Rodgers won't change whether or not he wins a Super Bowl. We'll just say, great, he's a Hall of Famer, he went out with a Super Bowl, goodbye. I don't think we're going to change the way we feel about him. Great talent, Hall of Fame career, but it won't change personally.
So what about Ray Lewis when he won early and didn't win for like 15 years in between and then he won?
I will say that, but he stayed with the same team.
Okay.
And I will say that...
Aaron Rodgers got traded, though. I know that...
Ray Lewis was always regarded as one of the best linebackers in the league.
Aaron Rodgers is always rated as one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
But we've always had... We've always...
Gotcha.
We've always had to say it.
Sorry, Nick.
It's okay.
We've always said a but afterwards.
Finish your point, Nick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, finish up and then I'll ask my question.
Well, I was just gonna I understand that perspective about Rodgers, because of his whole perception of who he is as a person.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But as a player, if he were to win a second ring in Pittsburgh, it would be more important than the first one, in my opinion.
Well, it's his last one.
Well, I'm just saying from a perception standpoint, him winning that championship would be... He's not going to. Let's just make that clear.
Yeah.
But it would be insurmountable to his legacy.
And I'm not saying that it wouldn't be big. I'm just saying if you want to look at it and say at the end of the day, we're not going to put how long in between each ring came. We're going to say that he has 2.
Right.
But when we break it down and we look at it, does the second ring really help the way we feel about Aaron Rodgers?
Sure does.
Be honest.
Sure
it
does.
would for me.
It would for you. Okay.
It would
It
for
does
me
not
as well.
for me. Again,
From a
great,
perception
you won.
standpoint.
Yeah. To me it doesn't. Great, you won. I'm happy you won. You're leaving. Good, you got your second ring. But I'm not going to forget all the years in between.
you could say the same thing about Peyton Manning.
And I do.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But I give...
Because Peyton Manning was carried. So let me ask you this. Hold on.
With the Broncos, yeah.
Yeah, let me ask you this as a counter. If Aaron Rodgers is the reason Pittsburgh wins, does that factor in at all?
If he's the reason Pittsburgh wins?
Mm-hmm.
So there are...
If he's the Super Bowl MVP, if he's, Offensive Player of the Year, whatever.
So if he's Offensive Player of the Year...
Or something.
Or League MVP.
He has like a monster season.
He has a monster season?
Like a bounce-back season.
Then we're good. Then I'll give him his flowers. It won't
Fair.
happen. But yes, I'll give him his flowers.
I agree.
Because that means
just
your
in case.
defense would have to be trash.
I was just going to say, because we can't just say Aaron Rodgers has a great season, that's because of DK Metcalf. We can't say that, because we can say that about any quarterback.
No, I didn't say that.
No, but I'm saying you said that we're going to think about somebody first before we talk about Aaron Rodgers.
I said we would
That's
think...
because of his perception now.
I said we would think about other people before we think about Aaron Rodgers.
I understand that.
Now, if Aaron Rodgers comes out and has the Joe Burrow year, then we have no question. But the only way for him to have the Joe Burrow year is for your defense to be trash, which it won't be.
That's debatable. I know my Steelers. Highest paid defense in the league.
Anyway, Tommy, what was your question?
My question now becomes, what qualifies somebody to become a Hall of Fame football player then?
It depends, because I believe Phillip Rivers could make a case for Hall of Fame, even though he doesn't have a Super Bowl win. And the only reason why I can argue that is because he played in an era with Big Ben, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady. So and all of those players were in the Super Bowl 99% of the time. And he still put up historic numbers.
So would the era you play in be like a factor?
So there's no...
Well, the NFL Hall of Fame is much harder to get into than an NBA Hall of Fame.
We're comparing resumes. Always when you look at... No matter what the sport, people. It doesn't have to be football. We're using football. We're comparing the sport. One of the hard things about football versus some other sports is that you've only got 16 to 18 games. Mm-hmm. So, Matt's point of view, Matt's saying, if we've got 6 really good quarterbacks and you're going up every year, if you don't beat them, but you beat everybody else, does that make you a bad quarterback? No, it might mean those 6 have better teams, one. Or they just have better coaches, or just are better than you because they have the experience. In terms of Phillip Rivers, do I think he's a Hall of Famer player? I think he could be. I would not argue.
He's not first ballot.
I mean, I don't think it's like, hey, his name's on the ballot this first time, put him in. No.
To bring this whole thing full circle, because he did retire, if he had won a Super Bowl, that would have changed his legacy.
Yeah.
But I think Phillip Rivers, and to go on that point, when you win your first Super Bowl, especially him in his era, what you say, and you take that away from somebody else, that's what we remember.
Yep.
We remember those moments. Example, I'll go to basketball. Dirk won his only ring. I'll right to you. Dirk won his only ring. Do we remember more? We remember Dirk winning, but we remember what? LeBron losing. So he earned...
That was a sweep too, right?
No, they won one.
So gentleman's sweep.
No, it was in 6.
Yeah, they won 2.
He got swept by the Spurs then?
Yeah. So...
And Golden State.
We won. So we got that moment because he won. So it came from somebody else, and that's like, oh, wow, you were able to win in that era, playing them? And then we look at your whole career. What you've done, your All-Stars, your MVP, I think that one, your MVPs, your points you put up, your win total. We're more inclined to look at everything once you have it. If you don't have it, we can look at everything, but you may not be first.
Do you think he was a Hall of Famer without the ring?
Who?
Dirk
Nowitzki? No.
I would have put him.
Basketball Hall of Fame or NBA Hall of Fame?
Just Basketball Hall of Fame.
Basketball Fame, yes.
I don't think there is an NBA Hall of Fame.
Uh-huh.
I think it's just pro basketball.
So, Pro Basketball Hall of Fame? Yes.
He should be in. If there was an NBA Hall of Fame, would you put him in?
I feel like there an NBA Basketball Hall of Fame?
There should be an NBA Hall of Fame. That'd be great.
Well, Ring of Honor will say top 75 greatest players, but like, do I think... Okay, let's put it this way. If we look at his NBA career without the trophy, without the ring and say, are you a Hall of Famer? No. I don't think all-star votes.
Do you think the fact that he beat LeBron bolsters his resume rather than just
Solidifies
winning?
it.
Yes, because you
Look at the team. Look,
He beat
LeBron,
Wade
right when
and
he beat
Bosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He beat a super
you
team.
beat a team that was built specifically with two players who were about to enter their prime to win a Super Bowl, to win an NBA championship, and you are on the downward edge of your career. Let's be honest, I love Dirk, but on the downward edge.
Yeah.
Rephrase.
Yeah,
Your
already-
whole team is on the downward edge
Yeah.
of your career.
Yeah.
You have a coach who's a really good coach, but couldn't really put the pieces
that
together
Rick
in Indiana.
Carlisle?
Rick Carlisle.
Yeah.
You have Jason.
Interesting.
You have Jason Kidd who bounced back. Jason Terry who came over,
Bless me.
and you were able to beat a juggernaut in Miami.
Mhm.
And you came back from down 0-2 or 0-1 to do it. Yeah, I think that's
And he's got
solidified.
a signature
And
move.
you were the MVP. What?
Is it,
He's got a
is it
signature
the
move.
Dirk
He does.
fade?
The Dirk fade.
And the fact now we look at his whole career, the fact that you're the biggest player in German history. Yeah, you're going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Sorry, that's going to happen. But I think that's how you look at that from his point of view. If you don't win in football, I think you may not get in the first time, but you've got to have a good career.
I have to ask them if it's based on career, would that make Odell Beckham Jr.?
Hell
He's
no.
never getting it.
No.
But he's won a Super Bowl.
That don't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. That,
Well,
the Super
to
Bowl,
me,
it's gotta be
let's
Super Bowl
clarify
and
this.
statistics.
A lot of people win Super Bowls, but we got to look at your whole career.
Kenny Pickett's a Super Bowl fucking.
So, but I'll tell you this: had he stayed in New York and just gone with the team with the ups and downs and not done anything, oh hell yeah,
What's the difference?
Had-
because we would have understood his talent and we would have said, okay, he didn't have the quarterback, and he had some great years because he went places that had quarterbacks and then went to where did he tear his ACL? Was it
And the
Baltimore?
Rams.
The Rams.
He was not even the best player on his team either.
Was that Cooper Cup's?
Yes.
One
Triple
year?
crown
Triple
year.
crown?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where it is. So he got it for clout. He's about to go to jail, by the way. Watch the Diddy trial.
Oh, like
Let me throw that in there. But
Anyways, shout out that nigga Diddy.
we're not shouting him out. No.
Nah, but electric chair for that man.
But my point is like we would have
You
looked
said
at
you
his
wanted to do the
career with
electric
no
slide,
quarterback,
did he?
and we would have been okay overlooking things.
That's what I'm smoking.
But because he won a chip, we're not overlooking anything. That's usually how it goes. When you win a championship, we want to see your whole career.
Yep.
So now his down years are going to go against him. If you don't win a chip, we'll look for an excuse to make sure that to justify why you didn't win a
His
chip.
injuries and his attitude
Exactly.
To be fair, Randy Moss.
overshadowed his talent.
Randy Moss is in the Hall of Fame, and he didn't win a Super Bowl.
It also took him years to get
It
in,
did,
Exactly.
but
which was ridiculous.
if he had one ring, he would have been a first ballot.
Well,
He already was a first ballot, wasn't he? No, he wasn't.
No,
you said
he
so.
should have been a first ballot.
should have.
Yeah.
and that's actually one that even other players, don't like the fact that it took him that long to get in.
I got another good example
One
too.
more, then we're moving on.
About the whole legacy thing. I go back to baseball because that was the first sport I watched as a little kid.
Is this? I never even know where this go.
Talking about me.
No, I'm talking about Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, I thought it was your rant already. My
who
fault.
should have been the first unanimous Hall of Famer in baseball. But one person voted no. So he still got in as first ballot Hall of Famer.
I feel like that should have been your rant.
But he should have been the first unanimous Hall of Famer. And he wasn't. Because of one fucking guy who apparently didn't like him for some unknown reason. Because Ken Griffey Jr. would have been the home run king if he was healthy his whole career. And he's still probably one of the 20 to 30 greatest players of all time.
So that's actually a question we should ask later down the road. Who should vote for this stuff and what the criteria should be? I'm glad we're getting on video right now. We're gonna move on.
Yes.
Our next topic was supposed to be guaranteed contracts.
Hell no.
I'm going to veto that and take that off because I want to get to some of this other stuff. My questions, and I feel we're going to go a little longer on those. I want to get to Nick's Rants, Baywoods Bets. And we're going to let Tommy pick a game of the week this week. That's what I'm going to decide. Tommy, you're going to be part of this. So let's start. You guys ready?
Tommy's eyes just got huge.
I know. We're going to put him on the spot. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna do some. They're not rapid fire questions, but I got some questions for you. I want you to think about your answers.
Brief answers.
Brief answers. Ready for
So
this?
just before, are we tabling the salary conversation for another week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure we're still going to be talking about it. At
My
some point.
first question to you guys:
Let's go.
male or female?
Ooh.
Who would you want to coach your child and why? Nick, I'm gonna start with you.
Oh, I don't smell that.
All right, I'll start with you, Matt. You have a child, and you're about to have another one.
And hopefully he'll
This
have
gives
a
me
boy
time to
and a
think.
girl. Boy. Oh, 2 boys?
It is. Excuse me. Oh, 2 boys. Hell yes, 2 boys.
Well, for right now.
Two great soccer players that will be coached by yours truly, so I'm the coach he wants.
I mean,
By the way, just for reference, I still will be the only Matthew Baywood on the planet.
Oh God, really? Well,
Google it.
Google Matthew Baywood. Can you answer this question?
Oh.
Is it wrong?
Because
You want me to go first? 'Cause I already have mine picked
I think
out.
I know whose yours is.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I think ours is the same. But you can go ahead.
I don't think it's the same.
Go ahead.
I have 2.
Okay.
Who do you think it is?
Gino Oriema?
And I don't think you get the second one. If you know me really well in the way I would be coached, you would get the second one.
Kitty.
As a coach? No.
I thought you meant like any player.
Gino Oriema is definitely one.
Gino
of
is one of them. Very good. That was my second choice.
I feel like it has to do with track.
No.
It doesn't. Okay. What sport does that have to do with?
Basketball.
Greg
It's a
Popovich. No
throwback.
kidding.
It's a throwback.
It's a throwback.
This is how old
The
I
dude that coached Jordan?
Phil Jackson.
Oh.
No, not
No.
Phil Jackson. I want to say either who was the Celtic coach back in the day?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
No, I'm not-
Van Gundy or Pat Riley? I don't know. Who is it?
Phil, Bob Knight.
Oh, Bob Knight. Ah, that's a good one.
The dude who threw the chair.
Yeah.
But it gets in your face.
That's a good one.
So for you guys who don't know, I've done soccer, basketball, track and field. I grew up in an obviously younger generation, but older generation. But my favorite way to be coached and the best way that I'm coached, even today, is in your face. Do this or you don't get it. No water till you're done. Work out in the hot sun. I'm that dude in high school. That was my thing. 110 degree weather. I'm still running sprints. I'm running up the hill. No water till I get it done. I'm cramping, throwing up, but I'm still gonna finish my workout. I'll be at the track till the sun goes home, but I'm doing my 16 times 200. I'm getting everything done, and then I come out and I bust ass. I kick ass, because that kind of coaching is what I love. And I know we call today's game with kids are soft, but when I have a child one day, that is how I will coach him.
So I got 2.
That is just me. So Matt, do you know who?
I got 2.
All right, who? 1 or 2?
I'm going Bill Squared. I'm going Bill Belichick and Bill Cowher.
Bill Belichick. Oh, the Bills. Okay. Why?
Bill Cowher is also one of those coaches that is get in your face type, angry. He's not only in it against to get you guys motivated or the players to get motivated, but if there's something that happens, even a referee or something crazy happens in the field, he'll be the first one out there to start screaming that way too. Yeah. Just all passion. Belichick, due to the wisdom that he has and some of the things that he's an endless book of knowledge. There's a couple of press conferences that I saw about him. One of them famously about the importance of a long snapper. Mm-hmm. And this guy went on a 7 to 10 minute rant on that, and just the importance and the reason why it's not necessarily a special, it's not like a receiver that can go out there and long snap and have another utility guy in the team, and why it's just a designated position. Mm-hmm. And picking his brain on stuff like that would just be unbelievable. And when you see the wittiness on the field, that game, I think it was against the Jets. It was either against the Jets, and then Vrabel used it against him, where he was just running the clock down with intentional penalties. Just to be able to find loopholes like that, you got to be literally just a student of the game, and all he cares, lives, breathes about is football. So I know those are both football coaches, but just that sort of mentality, either personal trainer type where you're screaming in my face and making sure that I'm a piece of shit until I get it done right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or just somebody that's a midpoint between that because he has a little bit of that in him too, where he's running again, like what are you doing, type thing, and also just being just a complete IQ genius.
I am older now, and I still do flag football and basketball. Do not talk to me that way now, because it will not work. You will catch these hands. I will say that right now. Respectfully, do not talk to me like that. But yes, no, Matt, I'm the same way. And actually, low key off the record, no comment needed. But I am very excited to see your kids and watching them be coached, because I want to see. I think Monica's gonna be harder on them than you are, to be honest.
Hell no.
But I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see how that pans out. Tommy, one or two coaches?
I have 3 coaches.
Oh, okay.
Track and field was my best sport for most of my life, and I'm gonna shout out my high school coaches. I think if I were to have anybody coach my kids, I'd want it to be them. Coach Carlo for sprints, and Coach Hayes overall track and field team. Coach Carlo teaches you technique, right? He'll tell you people to go watch form, how to get off the blocks properly, and with Coach Hayes is kind of like that coach that you guys were talking about, in your face screaming until you get it done right. And I remember my freshman year, indoor track, slacking. We were doing 600 meter practices, and first year of high school, first time doing indoor track, we're running in the cold and muscles are cramping. We're getting tired, and he caught me walking during one of my 600s, and that man had me restart the entire track workout, and we do everything from scratch. And I was one of the last people out there practicing that day. But that style of coaching got me school records, brought me to states, and unfortunately it was a hamstring injury that took me out of the game. But even when I tore my hamstring, both him and Coach Carlo were checking in on me, making sure I was doing what I was supposed to be doing to get myself back out on the track, keeping my spirits up. Like, they were able to switch it up from like, now I'm on your ass to do your work. I'm also going to be on your ass and supportive as well. They bought me my spikes for track, because at the time of when I was in high school, I couldn't afford it. My parents couldn't afford it, so they were both supportive, but hard on me as well, because they saw the potential in me. And then the next person that want to coach my kids, soccer was also a big part of my life. So I would want Ronaldinho to coach my kids. I want that on-ball skill that he has. I want.
This is a younger generation, the new Ronaldinho before social media, as we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yes, I grew up in a very, very different time than most people my age in this country, because I did not grow up in the United States, as you could probably guess by my accent. But yeah, watching Ronaldinho as a kid, that's kind of like the reaction that kids have to watching the Mbappes, the newer generation of soccer players, and like
this is
the fancy tricks.
I said you watched him growing up.
Yes.
Exactly. You didn't have to watch him from social media years back.
Absolutely not.
You grew up watching him.
Yes.
And your argument was not that we need to rehash other weeks, was that kids now wouldn't know who he was.
No. I didn't
other
say
than social media.
No. Yeah, but I didn't say Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
But yeah, world-class finishes, world-class touches. Yeah, I want somebody to pass down to my kids, because when it comes to speed, I'll give them speed. But like, everybody knows, when I played soccer, I had one shot. It was a power shot. And if you ever saw me shooting with my left, it'd be a finesse, because my left foot isn't as strong as my right. But Ronaldinho, coach my kids. Please. Thank you.
Please subscribe.
Sam Fieri, give me a coach.
All right, so I will also shout out the best coach that I personally had, Coach Sanj, my rugby coach in college, and I guess technically semi-pro.
Yeah.
Club, amateur, whatever. Allowed me to be me. Let me wear a bonnet during practice. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, all right, one quick story. I played center But we had a game where our fly half got hurt, who's basically the quarterback of the team, and I thought I was just going to play center again, and he said, "Nah, you're our fly half this week." He saw that in me, and I didn't see it in myself. So shout out to him. Appreciate you, Coach. Anyway, the coach that I would pick, this is a local guy. I would pick Jim Calhoun.
Oh, okay.
I idolized him as a coach when I was a little kid. One of my dreams, I guess I'll say, I wanted to play at UConn. Realized I wasn't good enough because I wanted to play for Jim Calhoun. I just wanted to learn from, obviously I never got a chance to meet him or nothing, but to be around that kind of person who has that much experience and just, I don't know, that's my kind of guy. The other one is Rick Pitino because he's the Godfather. He's got the illest suits, New York City. He's looking as sharp as a tack. Also a very excellent sports mind.
Yes.
Who cares about his team. And then one last one. Sorry, this is very quick. Very quick. I'm going to pick what's his name? Herb Brooks. Coach the Miracle on Ice.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that.
The only reason is because he has my favorite quote from any coach ever.
What is it?
The name on the front is always more important than the name on the back.
Oh, yeah.
That's what every coach tells you, too.
Miracle on Ice is USA versus Russia?
Yes.
Yes.
We are going to move on to our next question.
That was great.
So, those of you listening, I'm not sure where you're from, but there is a huge debate in sports. And they're looking at me right now, they got three heads. Which debate is it? It is a high school debate, but it trickles down into the pros and life after. Texas, Florida, Georgia, California, Louisiana. Who has the best talent?
Oh. This is part of the rapid fire questions?
Yep.
Okay.
So I need one answer, you to pick one, and I need you to give me one sentence as to why. And remember, professional athletes right now are still arguing which state has the best talent. And if your state's not listed,
Can you read the states one more time?
clearly ours isn't, we're not on this list. Texas, Florida, Georgia, California, and Louisiana. It's like the big five. So
Thing
I'm gonna
is,
start.
are we answering this
just-
as high school?
Nope.
Because I don't know any high school athletes
You
from
can
over there.
just look at it totalitarian. You can look at it as a total. If you know a bunch of high schools, great. If you don't know where the 5 stars come from, great. Look at your favorite athletes, see where they're from in football or baseball, basketball, whatever. Usually it's football, basketball, baseball argument. If you don't know yet, take a minute for it. Tommy, what do you think? Give me a state and one sentence why.
Man, shout out LSU, man. I'm gonna go Louisiana because
Okay.
LSU got some dogs in the NFL, track and field, and I don't know much about if LSU don't produce any basketball players that I'm currently watching, but
Angel Reese.
She's not from Metro Maryland.
Doesn't matter. She went to the school.
No, I said state. I did not say school.
I'm just shouting out LSU because
LSU recruits a lot of home talent.
Gotcha.
yes.
So
But yeah, shout out LSU and the state of Louisiana, man. My
Do
close
not
second
tag
would
her on, I
be
think.
Florida, though.
I'm going to pick California.
look at
And
California.
the only reason I'm picking them is because I feel like that state of the 5
Uh-huh.
has the most championships in sports. Like all different types of sports.
Yeah.
Because the Dodgers, the Lakers, the LA Kings, the San Francisco Giants, the Rams, the this, the that. It just goes on and on and on.
It does.
Now, Texas has a lot too, don't get me wrong. But I just feel like if we're looking at it from a prestige standpoint, winning makes you want to play. We'll go with Cali.
I love how we do this. And actually, that's kind of the argument. Some people, athletes nowadays, are picking, well, this is what we've done now, the bigger sports. Younger kids are like, well, our high schools are better. We produce more talent in these sports, a la Louisiana. Funny you pick California. Matt, who do you think?
I can't answer because I don't know enough about hometown players in those states to answer, and I don't want to sound like an idiot picking one.
I will say, well, there's one thing all those states have in common that we do not have up here in the New England area.
They don't snow.
They can train a lot longer outside than we can.
Mm.
So I'm actually,
Well, if we're taking that, then Texas can get snow.
well, all the states can
Okay.
get snow. No, it's
This
good.
motherfucker
But
white as well.
So
The great
just
debater.
okay. So mine's going to be this. I was going to say Georgia, but then I was just thinking in the back of my mind.
You didn't even answer the question.
Me?
No, him.
I can't.
Oh, he doesn't want it.
You want me to throw something out there? Was Alabama on the list?
No. So, okay, he's going to pick Louisiana because that's geographically the closest.
Thank you.
Damn it, Nick.
Actually, no, Florida's actually closer.
It depends.
They both touched.
Yeah.
Whatever. I almost said, go ahead.
Slap it in the middle.
So I'm going to say this. I was going to pick Georgia, having been in Georgia. I was going to pick it, but I think I'm going to go with Texas.
Texas?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Texas. And I'm going to say Texas because Texas, I feel, has the most top 300 athletes every time I look on ESPN's top 300, so I'm going to go with Texas.
Mikey, pick a state.
I'll get Mikey on the next question.
Okay.
So that's ready?
We also have
Mikey, don't go
here
anywhere.
because he lives here.
Oh, he's got no voice, apparently. He can't say hello, so...
He's doing sign language.
Oh, okay.
Is he flicking someone off?
No.
Oh.
All right, so question 3. Ready for this? I want one answer and why. This is one of your rapid fire questions. You decided to become a streaker. You went to a game. You decided you were going to streak the game. What game are you streaking and why?
I'm gonna start.
You get one game because you're probably getting arrested afterwards.
Man, I went to the USA Turkey game last week. I would have streaked that game and throw some punches because I got so mad. It was a great experience, but I got so mad we lost to Turkey.
Okay, so U.S.-Turkey matchup for Tommy.
Yeah.
That's your answer.
Let me not go into detail. And
Nope. We want to keep
Embarrass
the X
myself?
rating. We have the explicit rating. We know your next rating. Baywoods.
I'm going on any hockey game because ain't nobody catching me on the ice running on shoes. No security guard's going to get me unless he's got skates on too.
Until
The hockey player.
a low stick.
Yo, literally.
it's put into ice.
Oh my god.
That's a hard way to go. Be like,
In all
"Hey."
seriousness, I'd rather streak at a track and field event and try to race against them naked.
Don't throw the baton.
Pass the baton!
Tommy does the 4x1. You know, Tommy, it's just a hand up the time. Up
He said
down.
4x1. Oh my goodness.
That's going in the show.
That's
Show
crazy.
Nick.
Set the record in the pole vault.
What?
Yes. Oh, if I were to be in my birthday suit.
Oh, is it a birthday shoot?
That's what streak it is, bro.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny. He's going to be in the ice.
Yeah.
Or
Go get
track.
stunt. Rip skin off. I would pick. Oh God, I don't even know. Honestly, probably like a college football game or something, so I can try to be like a campus legend or something.
There. Winner go home.
Take some
Yeah.
Viagra before.
Some Blue Mountain State, be a legend or something.
That's
I'll probably pick that.
That's great. 110,000 people. I'll let you go for it.
You streaking on a game, Cam?
I'm going to the World Cup final. I said, go big or go home. All eyes are on it. Go big or go home.
Wow.
So that's mine. Next question's kind of personal. I'm kind of curious to get
I'll
your
run
answers
straight
on
to
this.
church.
I want to see if we have different answers. I know what mine is. Tommy, I'll start with you. Would you rather make $2 million at your current job or make $400,000 a year as a professional?
$2 million like just flat in a
A
year
year.
or like a year? Oh yeah, at my current job.
Oh, it's my turn. Sorry, just looking at me. To be a pro athlete,
Yep.
400,000.
400,000 versus $2 million.
If just sitting at a desk, shit, sign me up.
For which one?
I'll be a pro athlete for 200,000. I'll save you money.
I got two ways of asking. And
Nope, only one.
No, I'm only going to pick one, but I have a question, which
You
is
always
because
have a question. Man.
I feel like this is
Answer
going to be one of those dumb
questions.
questions. Our taxes
Answers
taken
questions
out.
with questions.
I do.
Our taxes
Do we have
taken
it?
out.
Am I able to defer my first
Right? It's like something like that. Am I in Connecticut or
Am I
Texas
able to
where there's
get-
no income tax?
Am I able to get endorsed?
That
No endorsements.
You're a
Just straight contract.
you're a professional.
I'll take my
athlete.
I'll take my day job.
$2 million?
Yeah,
What company is that?
Yeah, facts.
Easy.
We got company time, man.
I'll be honest.
Hell no, I'm going to the country.
I'll be a professional athlete
Hell yeah.
for 400,000. First of all, I'm not working the whole year, so I'm only working a certain amount of games a year, certain amount of months, and I get a whole bunch off.
Let me point out that my job does have 2 weeks off and 10 paid days PTO. Right off the start, so yeah,
I'll take the 5-6 months off and not paying for
free
anything.
athletic facility, free treatment facility, free
work
meals,
from home on
nutrition
Fridays.
plans, man.
Work from home
Oh
on
my
Fridays.
god.
Work from Miami.
They pay
Beach
for
every
all your surgeries.
I can go on
I
jet.
can
I can go on jet
fly to
skis
Miami
in the
every
off
weekend.
season.
Me too.
I don't gotta worry about training.
You can't go on jet skis in the off season.
Why can't I?
I'd rather be on a
We
flamingo
just
float
talked
anyway.
about this last
But
week.
you don't know what my sport
Flamingo
is.
float anyway.
You don't know what my sport is.
Man, I'll ride slow.
For that sport, I couldn't. For other ones, I could. Like if I did track and field professionally, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
You're gonna make 400,000 running track and field.
Actually, they make the championship league games. You can play up to $1 million a year.
Wow.
So
That wasn't the question, though.
But that was his answer to his. So anyway, that was the question. Let's see where your minds are.
My job, please.
It's 2 and 2.
So here's my question right here. And I want a few. Just quickly give me a few. Which athletes made you who you are today?
Oh, that's a good one.
I'll start. Troy Polamalu, and that's it.
Just one?
Yep.
I got a few.
I got a few too. We're gonna start with Zinedine Zidane. Don't talk shit about my family
Why? Because you
mid
be
game
headbutting people?
because I
Leave
will
the
headbutt the
France.
fuck out of you disrespectfully. Ronaldinho, passionate about the sport, and Usain Bolt, always aiming to be the fastest.
Right? Nick?
Kobe,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Mamba. I actually have his book too. Great book.
Let me borrow that.
I'd probably pick Terrell Owens.
Mm-hmm.
When he first came to the Birds. That was like epic.
Go Birds.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna pick a recent one
Okay.
actually.
Injuries.
No, because
You
I
don't
actually
pick clips.
no.
Can't break it if you don't take it.
Now, obviously, this is a little bit biased because he plays for my team. But
Cooper DeJean.
I'm going to pick Cooper DeJean. That's right.
I knew he was going there.
Absolutely, man.
It's my TikTok later.
Keep talking about him.
And all over my TikTok. Stop talking about him.
Keep talking about his skin. You know, he's not a white cornerback. He's a cornerback. He's a player with an A.
He's an athlete.
He's an athlete. That's right. Big year coming. Especially if we get John. It's a wrap. We repeat it.
So players that have influenced me the way I play or the way I look at approach games and approach stuff is Pele.
Nice.
Huge. The way I approach soccer, the mindset to go out there and do it. Honestly, before technology was where it was, where you know the name but not the person. I always loved that concept, and that's what I always wanted to be in Fairfield County. Was I wanted people to know my name if they didn't see me, and I love that. Carl Lewis, track and field for my life, baby. That's one of them. Michael Johnson, I had his shoes freshman year in high school, and I wore them black and gold stripe. Those are my shoes. Michael Jordan, obviously the mentality to be an assassin on the court, and then Diana Taurasi to be the best of the best, and then the way she sees the court. Those were the people that have made me who I am today, and why I'm so hard on everybody else probably when I play.
Cool. I also got to shout out Wayne Corbett. I don't know if you guys remember him. He was a receiver for the Jets. He was only like 5'10". I did an 8th grade essay on him because he was cool. But yeah, shout out to him.
All right, trivia questions. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Trivia.
You got questions or question?
I have a question. Well, there's the same question, but one for men, one for women.
Oh, okay.
All right, ready for this?
We're ready.
Give you a few seconds to think about it.
Soundboard Pop, you got the Jeopardy song today?
Oh, I should have.
I don't, but I gotta download
Looks like
that.
you've been drinking for 3 hours. You just sitting here like.
He vibing.
Anyway, west of Waco, Texas.
Mhm.
Fuck, I'm out.
When is the last time a team west of Waco, Texas won the NCAA men's basketball championship?
West of Waco, Texas.
Mm-hmm. So west of Baylor, before Baylor.
And men's NCAA.
Women's is, yep, the same one, but it's a different year we're going to go with. So, yeah. Do you know?
UCLA.
I'm gonna just throw a random number out because I definitely don't know. I'm gonna say 2001.
Oh, you need the year.
You give me a year or the team.
Year of the team.
There's really only a few to think of. If you think about
Was it recent?
Nope.
Was not recent. Okay.
Which is going to be my follow-up question to something else after, but which goes back to our original topic. This all loops together.
Arizona
Correct.
with Mike Bibby.
Well,
Oh, he wasn't on that team?
1997.
I was gonna say that because that was the year I was born.
Well, then you should-
Wow.
Yeah, but I didn't. So I
Bibby
failed.
wasn't on that team?
Nope. I don't believe so. Someone else won the MVP.
of course,
I don't
Diddy
think-
wasn't on the team,
No,
but
Mike
Diddy never
Bibby,
played.
not Diddy.
So we're going the
Bibby with a bonnet.
We're going to go on the women's side now. Before Stanford won in 2021, who was the last team west of Waco, Texas to win? Team or year?
Oh my god, I don't know. Division One.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was
Make
that?
sure.
Oh, yeah. Division
South
one.
California.
UCLA? No.
Not USC. No.
Before them. Well, actually, sorry, after them, because it would have been there.
Before Stanford,
Who was the last
it was
one?
2021 Stanford,
Uh-huh.
west of Waco.
Uh-huh. West of
Last-
Bowler.
West of Waco, Texas. Is this a trick question?
Yes and no.
I'll say Arizona.
No.
Oh.
Why do I feel
What?
like?
It's not USC?
Why do I feel like it's like Texas?
No.
Like, is that west of Waco, Texas?
Actually,
Arlington.
Texas
Austin?
is east of Waco. Austin is east of Waco.
It is east. Okay, that's what I'm like. Is it in Texas?
Unless we're talking about Waco, Texas.
Because I knew you would have got the answers if I used Baylor as the example, so I had to say before Baylor.
I don't know.
So,
Are they in California?
no. So, it is 1993, before you were born. And
Before I was born, too.
And before you were born. It is Texas Tech.
Oh, I was so close.
I had to look at a map to make sure. So, for the men, I thought one of you would have said Kansas. Kansas is technically east of Waco.
Yeah.
So that's why I would.
I wasn't
that's
even
why I chose it.
considering Kansas.
So, fun fact, going back to our time zone questions before, 7 o'clock, watching, being seen by everybody, a good reason as to why a lot of the best athletes in the country go to the East Coast. Exposure. And that's where the winning happens. Yes, we have Duke, yes, we have Carolina, but their games are on the East Coast, 7 o'clock, and that's where your exposure comes because of the way the time zones work out. Not that there are no good schools on the West Coast. Gonzaga's a good school. UCLA's a great school, probably the best history of any school for basketball, right? I can't think of any other better one. Arizona, great school.
Mm-hmm.
But, like we said before, what are we doing at 9:30 at night?
Sleeping.
Who's watching?
So are you insinuating that it's rigged?
Why would it be rigged?
Because the people that are watching on the East Coast are always winning?
No.
I'm kidding.
I was like, your question doesn't make sense.
I know you literally explained your
The way he
reasoning.
just-
Yeah, it was like,
Wait till we have cams.
I will say, when we have cameras, you're going to see some really funny
Matt was
things.
straight slumped like
Matt says the dumbest stuff. He looks drunk right now.
he's not drunk.
I'm not
Okay,
even
let's
drunk.
Well, we got to get.
I'll drive with my knees with my eyes closed. I'm not drunk.
It's gonna be. We're gonna need a mad representative. Nick, we're gonna start with you.
Okay.
You know what? No, we're not, because Matt's gonna be cracking up the whole time. I actually need to do his bit. Matt, can you tell us what are we betting on this?
Ben told you it's the NHL Finals. It's Edmonton. It looked scary in the first period last night, but they fucking pulled through.
Yes, they did.
And me and Nick are sitting pretty right now. It's 2-2. So that means it's 0-0, which means there's 2 games left. And
2 out of 3.
if we both think that they're going 7 games, but if it goes 6 and Edmonton wins, we're happy either way because we got a triple down on it.
I will say this, guys, because you've been listening, you know me. I do not watch hockey. I try to. I watched last night because it was next to the Yankee game. So I actually watched a game. It was 3-1. I found myself slightly cheering for Edmonton, even though they were losing. And that goal with 19 seconds left was crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it was crazy. I did not see that coming. It was awesome. It was awesome. Awesome.
And this was another game that went to OT. 3 out of 4 games went to OT.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's similar thing last year too.
I know. I've been saying I need more scoring, and I've been. The comeback was amazing. So that's all I'll say on that. And we'll move to another one.
One, two.
We're gonna have Nick's rants real quick. Nick's gonna rant with us.
All right,
Nick,
so
what's grinding your
So,
gears today? Or who?
So, we had a little incident where the powers that be on the internet, aka YouTube, they decided to take last week's video down for a little while because someone who marks our videos as explicit, Matt Baywood, decided to forget to mark it as explicit. He marked it as not for kids, thinking that that's the same fucking thing. And it's fucking not, come to find out.
Hence the two explicit words he just
Yeah,
used.
thanks the fuck a lot, Matt.
5 F-bombs, let's keep it going.
Let's not.
No, I mean, Matt, you do a lot for us, man. You know, you're posting the videos. You made the logo. So, but, you know, I don't know how hard it is to mark a fucking thing with one word. You know, I'm just, I'm just messing with you. But, you know, quit the fucking shit, please. Because if YouTube knocks another one of these motherfucking videos down,
Oh my god.
I'm on your ass.
Boy.
I
do
ass
apologize.
like a bonnet's on my head.
That was
It's on, dog.
that was 2 to 3 days of non-video being up for the week, so I do apologize. It was
I'm
up on
glad you
Sunday.
used
those
the
of you who
terminology
feel-
of not video being up. That's a great way to put it, Matt. Thanks.
And for those of you who feel like the only people who listen are family members do not listen because of what Nick just said.
It's fucking Matt's fault.
There we go.
That's why it's not there.
They don't listen
reason.
because
No,
of me?
it's there now.
They don't
It's
listen
fixed.
because it's explicit.
Oh,
And not like every other word. Like
Man,
not every
go
like 50 word,
fucking
every
care.
third words.
we don't even
Tommy.
say that much.
Well, that's why it's
Tommy, what are we watching this week?
What am I watching this week? Not the NBA Finals, I'll tell you that much.
Why they're on right now?
I know, that's why I'm not watching them.
Why not?
Why not?
I refuse to watch.
Small market teams?
No,
because the Knicks aren't in it.
Exactly! I'm a butthurt New York Knicks fan, and I refuse to watch the Pacers play in the NBA Finals. Shout out my nigga Shado.
Can we get something? Is there anything else you're watching this week, or you're just upset about?
Man, I'm just upset.
Your poor team.
I'm just upset about my team.
Also, it's back to Cam's picks.
Yeah, no. I gave it to Tommy. I passed the ball on this
I
one.
got a pick.
He dropped it.
I got a game to watch.
Oh, I didn't drop it. I'm just
Are you gonna say
expressing
tonight,
my
NBA
hurt.
Finals?
What's your game to watch?
Today is the start of the College Baseball World Series.
Yes, it is.
There were 2
LSU
games
is in
today.
Omaha.
2 games tomorrow, including Cam's team, LSU. They play tomorrow night.
Let's go, fellas.
And by the way, all 8 teams that remain were not in the World Series last year.
Hawaii's
Hmm?
Hawaii's in again?
I have no idea. I know it's Coastal Carolina, Arizona. I believe A&M's in it. LSU is in it.
Yup.
They play tomorrow night. But yeah, all 8 teams that remain were not in the final 8 last year,
So it
which is kind of crazy. So
This is-
the sport's expanding.
I believe it's Louisville, Oregon State, Arizona, Coastal Carolina,
Yep.
Murray State, UCLA, LSU, and Arkansas. And actually, that Arkansas LSU game, I believe, is number 1 seed versus number 3 seed in the SEC. So that's going to be a hilarious game to watch.
Also, Yankees Red Sox this weekend. Most historic rivalry in baseball.
yes.
Oh, Nick, question for you quick.
Answer for you quick.
Do you have a different outcome for the NBA Finals?
Oh yeah. I put in a futures bet. Pacers in 6.
And the Pacers are winning right now 11-8.
Yep.
I also have a 3-leg parlay going right now. If you guys want to hear it.
Let's hear it. Put it on. Put it on the record.
Chicago Sky plus 12.5 at the Atlanta Dream.
Which
We're
means-
going with Bayou Barbie, baby. Indiana Pacers money line, Dallas Wings money line against the Las Vegas Aces because Asia Wilson's not playing. That's the only reason why I took it. So yeah, we put a $65 wager to come out with 1,000. So we'll see what happens. And I actually think it's realistic.
I also think that Angel Reese is going to be the
Player of the game.
How many me bounds can she get? No, I'm kidding.
Hey, love you,
Injuries, fly me out, baby. I love you.
Well, that
I'll put that on record.
sums
If
up.
you win this game, I'll come.
So now
to
can I tag her in the video?
No.
I'll tag you, baby. Don't
You
worry.
cut
Do your
that one
thing, girl.
slip and then tag it. Put
Okay.
it on TikTok.
I can't
So
cut
Chicago
anything. That's
is
just
down
inauthentic.
Chicago's down 1.
but that's fine.
Oh.
Reese has
Yeah,
10
they
points,
can lose by 12.
6 rebounds, and 1 assist.
What's the shooting percentage?
4 of 7.
Oh, wow.
That's not bad. That's
And 2 of 3 from the free throw line.
I thought
That's
you
fucking good,
were,
man.
I thought you were going to say.
That's
from
why I
the
love
three-point
you.
line.
No,
Oh,
she has not attempted the
I thought
3-point.
3-point line. All right, fellas. So I think that sums it up tonight for us. Tommy, thank you for hosting. Thank you for joining.
I came through clutch.
I think we
round of
will
applause.
give him a little clappy clap.
Little snap applause.
Mikey, sorry you didn't say anything. We're all disappointed.
Shout out to Mikey. Snap applause.
I might get
Shout
right
out.
there.
No, he's downstairs.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think that's it. You know what? I don't know if Tommy heard the news, but Baywood is now a Knicks fan, so next year it'll be the 3 of you guys together. I'd like to announce that.
Go New York, go New York, go New York, go.
Oh,
Fuck!
because I know Tommy didn't see it. I put one of those Knicks varsity sports jackets on, and I like the colors on me.
So basically, what's going to happen is
Yeah.
if they don't win next year, I'll be stuck around a bunch of bitter Knicks fans again.
Yes.
But if they win, I'm probably have to move to Georgia. That's probably
Because I'm about to go crazy.
But that's it. You know what? Again, thank you guys for joining us. Tune in next week. I believe
Me.
Matt will be
Yeah, it's Matt next
moderating next week, the 21st, 22nd.
Who's that?
Does your shirt say kazoo?
That's a. If you
Anyway.
spell it differently, that's a good Chinese restaurant I eat on Thursdays.
All right.
Anyway, we're just
Norwalk, please
Thank
subscribe.
you for
Please
listening.
sponsor us.
Meet us, sponsor us, Everton. Let's go.